have no further industrial action if possible.
The hunt for the killer of William Holdback continues today. The 21-year-old was stabbed in Barpal Street, Welland, in the early hours of yesterday morning. He was in the area for what police believe was a clandestine meeting. The events were caught on CCTV, the victim speaking to people in a car. Adelaide remains a landlord's market. Mel Usher breaks down the suburbs that get the thumbs up and thumbs down for rentals.
Renting in Adelaide is getting further out of reach price-wise, with a low vacancy rate of 0.3% not helping. That's according to Domain's rent report for the March quarter. The cost of renting a house has hit a new median high of $590 a week. Units also hitting a new record high of $460. The biggest rental increases have been recorded in Findon, with units up almost 40%, and Smithfield Plains, where houses have jumped by close to 30%. The suburbs with the cheapest rents are Salisbury, Carolta Park and Brooklyn Park, with units $380 a week and under. And when it comes to affordability, the most improved are houses in Walkerville, Goodwood and West Beach.
The Prime Minister will announce new legislation designed to boost high-tech manufacturing in Australia. Anthony Albanese will use a key speech in Brisbane to outline the future Made in Australia Act. Similar legislation already exists in the US, Europe, Japan and Canada. The federal government believes the measure will help future-proof the Australian economy. The United States, Japan and Australia will create a joint air defence network as part of a new military pact between the three countries. The US President announced the new deal while hosting the Japanese Prime Minister at the White House, describing the agreement as a system of air missile and defence architecture. Joe Biden says strengthening the alliance is purely defensive as our countries consider adding Japan to the AUKUS pact.
Our AUKUS defence partnership with Australia and the United Kingdom is exploring how Japan can join our work in the second pillar, which focuses on advanced capabilities, including AI, autonomous systems.
Supermarket cosmetic standards are forcing billions of kilograms of fruit and vegetables to go and get dumped every year. Produce with slight discoloration, size issues and blemishes are often refused by major retailers. Farmers Pick is taking the unwanted products and selling them directly to customers. Co-founder Josh Ball says supermarket standards need to change.
As consumers and, start to accept, the little zucchinis or the, blemished oranges, and that's something that we're sort of advocating for and working with our farmers to provide to consumers.
Now to 5AA Sport.
Colours, custom design, any house, any style. Gliderol Garage Doors, gliderol.com.au.
And now here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Graham. Port Adelaide will have to make at least one change this week, with Jeremy Finlayson set to miss 3 weeks after being suspended for his homophobic slur against Essendon last Friday night. The Power, though, are a good chance to bring Sam Powell-Pepper and Ollie Wines in for their clash against Fremantle. And Richmond great Matthew Richardson says the league has made the right decision to hand Finlayson the 3-game ban. Finlayson will also have to pay for his own Pride in Sport education training. Richardson telling Wide World of Sports Finlayson made the right decision, owning up and admitting to the mistake.
He reported it to his own club straight away. He's now, I'm sure, going to accept his suspension and, as he said, improve and educate himself and be better. So he made a mistake. You can't hang him out now. He's apologised and he'll get better for that.
The Crows will also announce their side to take on Carlton at Marvel Stadium this evening, while the round kicks off tonight, Melbourne hosting Brisbane at the MCG. Well, plenty of European Champions League action on this morning, and Atletico Madrid is 2-0 up against Borussia Dortmund. That's with about 20 minutes to play, while Paris Saint-Germain and Barcelona are locked at 2-2. And the US Masters gets underway tonight with 6 Aussies trying to snare the green jacket. Among them is Minwoo Lee, despite the fact he broke his finger whilst at the gym last week. And that's the 5AA Sport.
And now the 5AA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your AutoMasters technician.
Partly cloudy and 22 today, tomorrow partly cloudy 21, Friday partly cloudy 21, then Saturday partly cloudy 22. Right now it's 14. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Hi, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, the Lynn Andrews team have made it easy for landlords to manage residential and commercial property. From single homes to multiple commercial holdings, our passion for property investment means we have a great deal of knowledge. How to do it safely and properly, matching the right tenant with the right property every time. We're here to help you. visit lynandrews.com.au.
Having access to reliable healthcare services gives us all peace of mind. Too many South Australians living hundreds of kilometres from Adelaide have a local hospital that doesn't have enough nurses or midwives. Frightening? Without state government action, we won't have the nurses and midwives needed to keep our regional hospitals running. Support those who care for us at regionalincentives.com.au. Authorised by EDBARS ANMF SA Branch Ridleyton.
Australia's leading manufacturer of wheels to the mining, civil and transport industries is Rimex. And now Rimex has a local certified workshop right here in Adelaide. Wheel repairs, testing and certification, custom wheel builds and a full range of spares and accessories. Rimex. Tyre supplier to the transport and civil industries, plus the Boto range of OTR tyres. Rimex. Better wheels, built strong with proven performance. Rimex. Call 707 88527 or visit rimex.com.au.
Tina. The Tina Turner musical is rolling into Adelaide in 2 weeks. This heart-pumping production celebrates the inspiring life story of Tina Turner, the queen of rock and roll. Featuring more than 20 of her iconic songs, Tina is guaranteed to raise the roof at the Festival Theatre. Opens April 24. Book at Ticketek. It's simply the best.
Stay informed, get involved. 5AA, always Adelaide.
Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base, search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
8 minutes after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to Thursday on 5AA Breakfast. It is the 11th of April. It's a Thursday, which means Matt Abraham's going to join us after 7:30 this morning. Dissecting the spin of the week. We're dissecting the Crows' opening 4-round performances with Josh Rochelle after 8 o'clock today. He'll join us on the show. David Koch will be on the program as well. Big morning to talk to Koshy. Not only is there some big federal political news around that he'll be very interested in sinking his teeth into, but also we've got Koshy's thoughts on the Jeremy Finlayson decision that was handed down yesterday. Tim Lester in the United States. Looking forward to chatting with Tim this hour. Police, weather, and we're sounding off for the Care Alert Smart Dialer. $400 worth of prize could be coming your way just for getting something off your chest after 8 o'clock. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, listeners. Rest assured, Crows fans, I'm going to be doing everything I can to make sure that our chat with Josh Rochelle is not a forensic re-examination of the first 4 Crows games of 2024. There's other things to talk about. One of which is that he turned 21 last week. He had his 21st on the weekend. Having your 21st, that feels like a distant memory to me. Where did you have a 21st?
I did, yeah, I did.
Where did you have it?
I had it at Zach's restaurant at...
Zach's?
At West Lakes. That was the Greek restaurant.
Oh, yeah,
You would have been there, but you would have gone there before.
Oh, I never went there.
Oh, didn't you?
Never went there.
I worked there and our family friends owned it, and...
Wasn't that the Carapitas family?
Yeah.
Who owned it?
Yeah. George and Nina, great friends of our family.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. It had a superb reputation.
It was great. Fantastic restaurant. I think their son John took it over. But anyway, yeah, that's where I had it there. It was a really nice shindig.
It's not there anymore, though, is it?
No. Not sure.
It was an institution for a long time.
Yeah.
And wasn't the woman who ran it, she put out a cookbook as well, I think.
Oh, really? I'm not sure. I know Nina still cooks to this day.
Yeah. Mine was at the Flinders Uni Tavern.
Oh, what a great spot.
Back when it was like a really rollicking, smoke-filled band venue back then.
So neither of the venues we had our 21st exist anymore?
Well, technically the tavern still does.
No, it doesn't.
They claim it's like... Have you been in
there?
The
name still exists.
Yeah,
I have been in there. It's not it's like saying, that
the Tivoli is still...
Adelaide Oval still exists if we bulldoze this one and build a new one at... I don't know, Noarlunga.
Yeah.
And called it Adelaide Oval. Well, technically, no, it's not.
I know, it's depressing, isn't it? I was thinking about the Flinders Uni Tavern last week because I did a column for the Tizer about the Crown and Anchor and was just thinking back to how many venues have disappeared in my lifetime. Like, it's heaps. La Rocks, the Tivoli, the Holdie. The Holdie was the pub to go to for all those southern punk bands that Ryan Fitzgerald always rabbits on about.
I know they've battled, and we've had a lot of closures recently post-COVID, but a lot of that is just there's a sort of trendy element, isn't there, to those kind of venues?
Mm.
Does anything last 40 years in the world of trying to attract young people to go and party there? And
yeah, it's quite
everything has a turnover. It seems to have a high turnover rate.
Yeah, I guess some places, as you say, like they're of their time, but there are some places that endure. Like, I mean, Enzo's is a good example. Your classic Italian bistro.
Yeah, I think food can do it. I just think trying to attract young, trendy people is a moving feast. It's why you've got this new phenomenon where a lot of these places, same owners, same building, they redo the fit out every 2 years and call it something totally different.
Yeah, like one day it's spaghetti crab, and then it's
that's right,
Miami crab shack, or yeah.
It seems to
almost
be
like trying to throw people off the scent.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's all brand new, which must cost a fortune to do. But that's chasing that idea of being trendy.
I suppose the thing is, you sort of work out, okay, there's everything in that space has a life cycle. So you open it, and there's only so many things that are opening that are new. Next thing you know, Simon Wilkinson from The Advertiser is there doing a review for the paper and the website, and maybe you just want to have one dish. You want to have one dish, get that into the top 50 dishes in South Australia, which is probably easier said than done. But then that the in crowd and the Adelaide people, all the pretty young things, i.e. not us, are going to turn up, and it'll sort of chug along from there. But yeah, 21st. Who had their 21st at a place that no longer exists?
It's got to be everyone listening, doesn't it?
Well,
it might be easy to say who's had a 21st at a place that does still exist.
Well, Josh Rochelle, I think I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, unless
it had really hit hard times in the last 48 hours, I think he's all right.
There's actually there's a piece in the paper this morning about the difficulties businesses are having at the moment of this ilk, attracting young people to go into the city and have a drink and socialise because it's too expensive because the alcohol tax increases and the cost of hiring people. It's just priced itself out of what a lot of young people can afford. So the whole business model seems to be being really challenged at the moment.
Yeah, I read that article too, and like the sort of entry level price for a spirit based drink now is $12. But some place or $12 to $14. But one of the owners was saying the way things are travelling, you're soon going to be paying $20 for a cocktail. Now $20. I mean, if you're at Raffles having a gin sling, maybe, because you're paying for the, the history, the culture, the ambience, the fact that it's 6-star hotel there in the middle of Singapore. But not if you're at the Woolshed.
Yeah, I'm guessing that the pint market is a bit like the property market in terms of the fact that it's entirely outpaced the increase in wages. And yes, you might as a casual worker get $30 an hour these days compared to $15 an hour 20 years ago, but I reckon the pints have increased significantly more than that over the course of that time.
Well, that's a good example because $15, like the sort of money I was getting at the Central Market, back then pints were like $2.
Yeah.
I can remember going to the pub as a kid, as an young adult, but if you had $20 on you, you knew you were going to have a great night. You were going to get hammered.
The suggestion is now you could drive home quite safely.
If you took $20 to the pub, you could drive home.
Dave in South Brighton's called in. Morning to you, Dave.
Morning, guys. A venue that's still going for bands is the Arcaba.
That's true, and it's actually being relaunched tonight, Dave, too.
Yeah. I saw Cold Chisel, Midnight Oil, and quite a few overseas, sort of not the superstar bands that came through back in the 70s. And, they're still going. Probably the same people that were going then are going now because the type of bands that are playing there, I think, are more older people ones. And price of beer, when I started drinking back in my underage drinking days, a schooner of beer, because it was schooners back then, 25 cents.
Yeah, that'd be right. Yeah.
And a deposit on a large glass bottle of Coke that you could get your money back at the deli was 20 cents.
Oh, yeah, well, they used to come in those orange crates.
Yeah, so you imagine now, a schooner of beer probably costs $7 or $8. Can you imagine paying $7 or $8 deposit on a glass bottle of Coke?
Yeah, no way. That's fantastic, Dave. Thank you. Let's go to North Haven. Amber, good morning.
Oh, good morning, boys. Well, I had my 21st at Ayers Rock, and even though Ayers Rock still exists, it was when the motels were all around the base of the rock.
Really? So did you live out that way, Amber, or was it like a special event 21st?
Oh no, I worked there.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it was when the rock. Yeah, all the motels were around the rock, and but then of course this was back in 1978, and I think that was yeah, and but then of course they tore those down and built it far further away because it was, wrecking the environment sort of thing. So that was very interesting. So
That would have been an amazing place to work, Amber.
It was.
I had no idea that there ever were hotels. I've never been to Ayers Rock / Uluru, but I never knew that there was anything along those lines there.
I mean, we used to ride our push bikes around the rock, and we climbed the rock, of course, and back then everything was close to the rock. It was it's before, but then they moved it. But, there were 5 motels. Let's see, I was at the Red Sands, there was the Inland, there was the Chalet, there were 2 others that I quite scared of. Because it was after I was there that the dingo thing happened. And also I remember a truck drove through one of the motels.
Yeah, that's a very famous court case. Yeah, that big road train.
Yeah, that happened after I went there. But no, it was fascinating. It was. I was lucky I had the day off. It was a Saturday, and it was like an old country 21st. So.
Wow, Amber! I tell you what, we could take calls for 3 hours on 21st. And I don't think we're going to get anyone who's had a more special location than yours. Great story.
I didn't realise that there were all those hotels at the base of Uluru.
Quite remarkable.
I can remember at school, kids going, classmates of mine in primary school coming back, you had to get the I Climbed Ayers Rock t-shirt.
Amber might have been the one giving them out. 8223 0000 is our number. You can text us too on the Duttons text line 0480 1395. News headlines in a moment.
When you're a market-leading builder like Regent Homes, you never rest on your laurels. It's why Regent Homes is South Australia's only builder offering 3D virtual reality technology in their Envision Design Studio. At your first design meeting, you'll walk through your home in virtual reality. It's a wow moment, enriching your experience so you can make the right design choices from the start. Regent Homes. Innovative design, elevated living. Visit regenthomes.com.au.
There's something exciting about firsts. The first day at school, your first job, your first love, first kiss, first time behind the wheel. Your first car. At Northeast Auto, we're excited about our own first, our first ever car sale. Running April 13th to 20th, we'll have unmissable bargains on new and used cars, utes and SUVs. It'll be a first you won't forget. Northeast Auto's first ever car sale.
LMPD 243924.
Now at Harvey Norman, big savings on vacuums and more, plus 10% back in gift cards. Save $100 on Bissell Crosswave Hydro Steam, now $496, plus 10% back in gift cards. Save $175 on LG A9 Multi-Stick Pack, now $599, plus 10% back in gift cards. Save a huge $350 on Dyson V12 Stick Pack, now $999, plus 10% back in gift cards. Hurry, limited time, now at Harvey Norman.
Go! If you need a window, and not just anything will do, just call Statesman Windows. Factory direct to you.
Nobody beats Statesman Windows, not on quality and certainly not on service. Windows, sliding doors, bifolds and more, made right here in Adelaide. Factory direct to you. For windows when and where you want them, call Statesman Windows. States.com.au.
Windows when and where you want them. Windows when and where you want them.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base, search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
20 minutes after 6 news headlines on this Thursday morning. Trains are going to grind to a halt for several hours today because of industrial action. Drivers are going to be walking off the job between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. The suggestion, however, is services could be impacted up to an hour before and after that strike action period. There will be some substitute buses in operation, so that's going to be worth heading to the website and checking out. The Transport Department's John Whelan wants the pay dispute settled as soon as possible.
We'll have people at some of the train stops as well to remind people if they haven't been notified. But again, we want the union and we want KDA to get to the table, negotiate in good faith and have no further industrial action if possible.
Gather round is
this union guy ever going to say anything about this?
He was on the news last night. We're going to play a bit of him at 7:05 this morning.
What's the... it seemed like that call we had yesterday is still ringing in my mind about how it's a 5-year deal, but it's actually like going to end up being the state government or the taxpayers' problem because of the
because the back end of it. Let me have a look. I wrote some notes about that this morning. So the network and timetable planning gets handed over to the government January 31st next year. Customer services and security operations get run by the government from June 2027. This is 2024, and they're talking about a 5-year deal. So that runs to 2029. So yeah, this should be a discussion that's happening too with the taxpayer.
Yeah, totally.
Gather Round has given the hotel industry an $8.3 million shot in the arm. Accommodation revenues in 2024 up 13% on last year. The AHA's Anna Moller says a 4-day festival really works in their favour.
And extended win. Often, you'll have a major event and you'll just see a boost for maybe a day or a day and a night, but this really was a fantastic long weekend.
The total injection from last year was 83 million, wasn't it? So, and that's 8 million. That's purely for
just hotels.
Hotels alone.
Just hotels. Yeah. This is something that Koshy touched on last week, but both houses and units are more expensive to rent than ever before in South Australia. Domain reporting in what's a quarterly publication they put out. The biggest rental increases have been recorded in Findon. How about this? In Findon, units are up almost 40%.
Crikey.
40%.
Maybe that's because of Dan Houston working now at Coles.
I think it is. It's the Dan Houston effect.
People want to live there, so they go to Coles and see Dan.
In the last week, I think most of that 40% has gone up.
That's right.
Smithfield Plains, houses have jumped by close to 30%. This is for rents. The cheapest rents are houses in Salisbury, Karratha Park and Brooklyn Park. When it comes to affordability, Walkerville, Goodwood and West Beach top the most improved list.
Karratha Park, that's interesting. Most affordable.
Cheapest rents.
Cheapest rent. But so close to town. Good spot to live because you're sport for choice for
Brooklyn
transport.
Park's not far from town either.
No.
Interesting, the affordability too. Places that like Walkerville, Goodwood and West Beach all improving significantly on the affordability front. This tells a really interesting story about rents in South Australia.
I reckon one of the reasons Karratha Park would be in the most affordable list is it's a rare example in Adelaide of a city of a suburb rather that's always had a hell of a lot of medium density housing. It's always had, you look at all those apartment blocks, a lot of them were built in the 1960s. Same where we are. Wayville has got a lot of old apartment buildings.
And people are just used to it.
And it makes it so much more democratic. And this is why the curse of the NIMBY is making it harder for us to increase our housing stock because so many other suburbs say, no, we don't like and indeed have never had any 5-7-storey apartment towers.
Couple of early morning traffic issues. Portrush Road, Glen Osmond. A broken down truck on Portrush Road near Woodley Road, Glen Osmond, is causing delays for southbound traffic. Please be patient, is the advice from the Transport Department. Another one too, this one is at Grand Junction Road, Hanson Road, Wingfield. Grand Junction Road is closed for eastbound traffic at Hanson Road due to a collision. Let's have a look at the weather forecast for today. The days are very similar at the moment, it must be said. 22 the expected top today, partly cloudy. Light winds, they get to 15 to 20, but nothing really notable on the forecast for today. 21 the expected top for Friday. The weekend, 21 and 22. Monday is 22, Tuesday 22, and then Wednesday 21. You might get some rain on the Monday, but gee, it'd be at most a mil and still only a 30% chance of any rain at all. So pretty dry conditions, but Tops all in that 21, 22 range. The UV index for today is at 6, which is considered high. When the UV's 3 and above, cover up, use sun protection, stay sun smart, and download the Sun Smart app. Tom Wren's in the studio with us. Colours, custom design, any house, any style. Gliderol Garage Doors, gliderol.com.au. Morning, Rennie.
Morning, Will. Morning, David. I'm fascinated today. I think Koshy's on the show a little bit later on, just in his reaction to the Jeremy Finlayson penalty. You boys forecast it yesterday. We were waiting to see what happened. Well, it came through. 3 games. And I think the frustration for fans is just the glaring inconsistencies. Alistair Clarkson, not 5 weeks ago, came out with something very similar, suspended sentence in terms of matches. And then Jeremy Finlayson, 28 years of age, he'd be on a quarter of what Alistair Clarkson's on, final year of his contract, and he gets 3 weeks. And not surprisingly, the Players Association is livid. Now, I'm not condoning what Jeremy Finlayson said, not at all. But I think the issue is, how can we come up with one set of penalties for Alistair Clarkson, who, let's face it, has got a pretty decent rap sheet, and then Jeremy Finlayson, gets 3 weeks. I think that's where the frustration comes.
A bloke who straight away apologised for what was his first offence. He's a decent bloke. He's a clean player. He's a nice man. He's never done anything wrong, as far as I can tell, in his entire life. And first offence, you get this. I don't know.
So I get if the Clarkson incident didn't exist, I get it, because you say
same.
If the AFL said, well, the standard is about 6 weeks if you say something that is, broadly considered hate speech in society, but it gets downgraded to 3. You get a 50% discount because you came out and said, I got it wrong, I did it, it was a mistake, I'm an idiot, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But the Clarkson one just totally skews the entire. It makes the whole thing seem entirely arbitrary.
Part of the problem with the discussion around it, though, is that Finlayson and Clarkson use different words.
Yes.
And you can't actually, because there's no way I'm going to say either of those words on air, but there is a nuanced sort of discussion to be had around...
One was an implicit reference to homosexuality, one was an overt reference to homosexuality.
Yeah. Well, Finlayson used the F word, which is the equivalent of, in the racial space, the N word.
Yes.
Like, it is the ultimate derogatory term for any gay person. But the one Clarkson used, you can argue the toss about it a little bit.
Clarkson referenced an act that suggests homosexuality.
Well, does it necessarily, though?
Well, yeah, you're right. That's the argument. But I just this is where
the silliness of it all, though, isn't
you
it?
lose IQ points and brain cells every time you try and have an argument in football around what word, how many weeks do you get for what hate speech? It is the dumbest argument on planet Earth. We do this all the time with footy and all sorts of indiscretions. Like, is that 3 games or is that 4?
And I hate that. I hate the way this has become a sort of vehicle for showdown style animosity with the Tex people.
Yeah.
I mean, the funny thing is,
that back up
there's
again.
so Finlayson's first game back is the showdown. I'm sure there's probably some Crows supporters out there who are stupid enough to boo him. Oh, you homophobe! When they're the same people who 3 years ago would have been saying, lay off Tex! He said he's sorry!
Yeah.
So, like...
Yeah, it's...
So the AFL needs to simplify and say, anything that goes anywhere near any of these areas is this. We don't care about the nuance. It's the only way they can get rid of these sorts of debates, which again makes you go, what in the hell were they doing with Clarkson?
Yeah, that's right. And
well, they were treating him under the Old Mates Act. Whereas it's much easier to mete out an exemplary punishment to someone who's never done anything wrong
in another state
when they play for a team that isn't based in Melbourne.
Yep. And that's what...
Because it's the VFL house.
And I think Paul Marsh has done well, the CEO of the Players Association, as is their sort of responsibility, and come out and back the player in. But look, the end result is he's accepted it. He'll miss the next 3 games, starting this week with Fremantle, Collingwood and then St Kilda. Porter likely to get back Ollie Wines, and Sam Powell-Pepper. Well, Powell-Pepper will come back in. He's a big part of their side. Crows side tonight as well. Fascinated to see if they do much. I mean, the whole rhetoric is about simplifying the game plan. So we'll see how that transitions into team selection tonight. And Melbourne-Brisbane kick it all off. It should be a great game to start round number 5.
Some of the journos really lost me on this in the last few days. Robbo in particular.
On the Finlayson story.
Just all this sort of look at me, and all the people tweeting about how virtuous they are. Just, anyway. Hey, big shout out to Rosie. She had her 21st at the Wonderland Ballroom 60 years ago.
Fantastic.
Oh, wow.
Now, Rosie, there's a very good chance you might have been there the night my parents met. Because they're
Really?
now around the 80 years mark.
Was it at a 21st?
I don't know. I'll ask Mum tonight. Good on you, Rosie. Good on you, Tom.
Thank you,
Thank
Rennie.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Partly cloudy and 22 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Graham Goodings.
Every body is unique. Let the Physio Extra team take care of your specific needs. PhysioExtra.com.
Industrial action will hit our trains today. Drivers will stop work from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. as part of a dispute over pay and conditions after negotiations with private operator Keolis Dunn have stalled. Services may be impacted as early as 9 a.m. and it could be 3 before all trains are back up and running. The Transport Department's John Whelan says a small number of substitute buses will be operating every 30 to 60 minutes during the disruption.
We have some plans in place, but unfortunately, we won't be able to cater for everything like a rail timetable, but we'll have some sweeper buses.
The state government is giving victims of crime a stronger voice in South Australia's criminal justice system. Attorney General Kaya Ma says victims should have the right to tell courts in their own words exactly how an offender's criminal actions have affected the victims' lives.
We're going to make sure victims know their rights, their ability to make a victim impact statement, and the legislated right to have proceedings adjourned where they haven't had a proper opportunity. But more importantly, we're going to make sure that the victim's words of what the court hears are to make sure that their statements aren't edited and they can tell the court in exactly their own words the effect that a crime's had on them.
The Albanese government will outline a key budget measure today aimed at boosting manufacturing in Australia. Michael Packey reports.
The Prime Minister will deliver a key speech in Brisbane, spruiking proposed legislation to boost local manufacturing. The Future Made in Australia Act will combine existing and new measures to be announced in next month's budget. Similar legislation exists in the US, Europe, Japan and Canada. Anthony Albanese will use his address to point to a series of local renewable energy and defence projects already underway. He says all levels of government need to be more strategic and sophisticated in their thinking to help grow the Australian economy and maintain our trading edge.
The US President is considering Australia's request to drop the prosecution of WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. America is seeking to extradite Assange from the UK over the leaking of military records, charges he's always denied. Joe Biden says he's looking into the federal government's request. Farmers are losing billions of kilograms of produce every year due to supermarket rejection. Fruit or vegetables that fail to meet cosmetic standards are being refused. Farmers Pick is taking the unwanted products and selling them directly to customers. Still, co-founder Josh Ball says the waste is taking a toll on growers.
There's a massive waste happening out on farm. There's 30% of produce just getting dumped in the field, and at the end of the day, farmer and the supermarket will pricing this into their final product. So you're buying your potatoes and you're wondering how on earth they're $5.90 a kilo. Yeah, you should probably just think about the 30% that never left the farm.
Both houses and units are more expensive to rent than ever before in SA. That's according to Domain's latest quarterly report. The biggest rental increases have been recorded in Findon, with units up almost 40%, and in Smithfield Plains, where houses have jumped by close to 30%. The cheapest rents are houses in Salisbury, Karalta Park and Brooklyn Park. When it comes to affordability, Walkerville, Goodwood and West Beach top the most improved list. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, style and safety to your home. Gliderol.com.au.
Good morning, Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Graham. We'll start with some football, and Port Adelaide will be without Jeremy Finlayson for the next 3 weeks after he was suspended by the AFL for his homophobic slur last Friday night against Essendon. And the round kicks off tonight with Melbourne taking on Brisbane at the MCG. The rest of the teams, including for Port Adelaide and the Crows, will be released a little later this evening. You can catch all of that news with Rowie and Timmy G. Well, tennis fans are in for a treat tomorrow, and on Saturday the Billie Jean King Cup tie will be played in Brisbane. Captain Sam Stosur telling Wide World of Sports it's a real opportunity to see some great tennis.
Queenslanders love their tennis, so we've got, the best players in Australia from the WTA playing, and it'd be great to have everyone come out and support the girls over the 2 days.
And some good results at the Monte Carlo Masters with Alexei Popyrin and Alex de Minaur both winning their second round matches, meaning they move through to the round of 16. Well, a brilliant result as well for Barcelona in the opening leg of their quarter-final tie in the Champions League against Paris Saint-Germain, coming from 2-1 down to win 3-2, the winner coming in the 77th minute.
Oh, the flips it in, and headed in from on the line by Christensen, who's been on a matter of seconds. And Barcelona have the lead.
Audio there thanks to Stan Sport. Elsewhere, Atletico Madrid had a 2-1 win against Borussia Dortmund. And that's the 5AA Sport.
And now the 5AA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your Automaster's technician.
Partly cloudy and 22 today, tomorrow partly cloudy 21, Saturday partly cloudy 22, and Sunday partly cloudy 22. Right now it's 13.5. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base, search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
24 minutes to 7, police and weather coming up shortly. We're going to be crossing to the US too to chat with Tim Lester, where we expect he may have the latest on some interesting developments regarding the case of Julian Assange, where the US President Joe Biden was asked at a press conference overnight about the Australian Parliament's request that the US drops its charges against Julian Assange and he's released back here to Australia. And Joe Biden said, as he's prone to doing at these kind of press conferences, he just gives you a frank and honest answer. And he said, well, yeah, we're considering it, which would be a huge development in that case. Because if you go through and have a look at the offences he's charged with in the US, he's never getting out of prison. He may have put himself in a prison of a sort anyway, trying to avoid this, but he's never getting out. The accusation is that he put lives at risk by publishing secret military documents. In 2019, prosecutors in Virginia charged Assange with 18 offences, including one charge of a conspiracy to attempt to hack a computer. That was in connection with the 2010 release of classified military material. 17 additional counts under the Espionage Act. Now, each of those counts carries a potential sentence of 10 years, meaning that if convicted, he could be sentenced up to 175 years in prison, because that's the way they do it in the US. It's not like here where they say, well, that's not we say that's unreasonable. You need the potential to be rehabilitated and re-entered into society. In the US, they say, well, that's the penalty for that crime. If you did it 10 times, guess what? You've got a 200-year jail sentence. So that's what Assange faces. Big story in the last few hours.
Oh, Joe, he's good at just blurting things out, isn't he?
If you shout questions at him at the end of a press conference, he might just tell you. What are the nuclear codes, Joe?
I've got to say, the whole Assange thing leaves me cold. I'm sure we've got listeners who think that the guy is a freedom fighter and that he was doing a good job releasing information that showed what the military industrial state was up to. But I still think the bottom line is, if you worked in diplomacy or in intelligence, espionage, the unfettered release of all of that information through WikiLeaks compromised your safety.
Yeah, I've always felt that way. I don't know why this guy's held up as some sort of...
What I don't understand is why a lot of conservatives have suddenly started rallying behind him. Like a lot of the sort of Donald Trump style brigade now regard Assange as a victim.
It's a great question. I don't know. Does it go to that sort of, challenging the establishment, the old way of doing things? We're all in the same team trying to...
Draining the swamp
sort of stuff?
I'm not sure. A lot of feeling about Jeremy Finlayson. One here, lads, Clarko's the Pete Rose of the AFL, outstanding record on the field, but not much of a bloke with his behaviour. Finlayson, however, did everything right with his honest apology. Surely only a match would have been sufficient. And a few people agreeing with your excellent point, Will, about we're going to do a little sliding scale with every prejudicial cuss word known to man, and have almost like what's it called, the table of maims in industrial law, where you get a certain amount of money based on which body part you've had injured or incapacitated. Yeah, we need a table of bum face. If you call someone bum face, it's only a $500 fine.
Yeah.
Maybe Mr. Poopy Pants, 1,000. Like, it's quite juvenile and stupid, isn't it?
The whole thing's ridiculous.
That was a quote from The Naked Gun for the cognoscenti.
Hey, big congratulations to an organisation that is close to our hearts here at 5AA Breakfast, and one that you've had something to do with, David, in recent history. The North East Budgerigar Association have celebrated 50 years. They had a big gala dinner last night.
A big gala dinner?
A big gala dinner. No, I don't know. A gala is popular in the budgerigar world?
Probably not, actually.
Yeah, there might be not.
No, too big.
Okay.
Eat all the seeds.
Let's not offend them at their time of great celebration. Our very own Graham Goodings from the newsroom was Speaker of Honour on the night at the Budgerigar Association.
Is your dad a budgie guy?
I didn't know that he was a budgie guy.
Did you ever have a budgie?
No, we didn't have a budgie.
What pets did you have?
Well, I mean, now he's spoken, I guess we can be plain about this. We had cats, which I imagine are incompatible with budgerigars.
Cats?
Yeah, we had cats.
Maybe he didn't reveal that last night in his speech.
That's what I'm hoping it didn't come up. Would have been
one day we found a budgie in our backyard, except it didn't have a head.
Usually rats and mice, actually. Wasn't too many birds, thankfully. But a big congratulations to them. They only came to our sphere of awareness in the last 12 months.
We love the Budgerigar Society.
We love the Budgerigar people.
There's a lot of different chapters of it. You know, there's a Port Pirie Budgerigar Association.
This was the North East last night.
Yeah, because they've all got their own different stickers.
Out at Kilburn, they had it.
Yeah, right, Kilburn. Lucky them. What a good night that would have been.
Yeah,
because I had a lot of fun judging that last year. Scotty Thompson was judging as well.
Draws in the biggest names in Adelaide, the Budgerigar people.
You know, the other thing that was amazing, they had Henley Farm wine on the day. Like, it was crackerjack wine.
That is absolutely superb.
It was incredible. There were $80 bottles of red dotted around the room.
So happy 50th birthday, North East Budgerigar Society. 8223 is our number. You can text us too on the Dutton's text line. Dutton's Mitsubishi, the new gen Triton has landed. Book your test drive today. Dutton's, they're easy to do business with. As mentioned in the first half hour, there's a couple of road incidents that we're keeping an eye on for you this morning. The first at Grand Junction Road, Hanson Road, Wingfield, with Grand Junction Road closed for eastbound traffic at Hanson Road due to a collision. I suspect SAPOL might have more on that story very, very shortly. The second incident that we're monitoring, and again, if you've got any information on these, we always appreciate your eyes out on the road for us. At Portrush Road, Glen Osmond, a broken down truck on Portrush Road near Woodley Road, Glen Osmond, causing delays for southbound traffic. The good people at the traffic department pleading for patience or asking you to find an alternative route. Lucy's just coming to the studio with gusto. It always excites me when that happens. Luce bursts through the door. Morning to you, Luce.
Hello. I'm not sure if I should be excited about it, and someone who might be currently on South Road can tell me otherwise. But the traffic map is showing urgent waterworks, South Road near Dawes Road in Melrose Park. Now, it looks like it's planned, but there might be hold-ups there that only started... it's going to carry on this morning. So if you're on South Road and being held up by waterworks in Melrose Park, please let us know.
Isn't that the exact spot where the pipe cacked itself the other day?
Yeah, it was in that area.
I mean, even if it wasn't, it will have happened before along that stretch.
Oh, yeah.
At any given time.
The Bermuda Triangle of Adelaide's road system, just in front of Costume Land and McDonald's there.
What do they call it is it
Thank you, Lee.
Is it Foreign Affairs or is it Tech with the cascading series of events, cascading series of failures? The trains are on strike. You've got the main arterial road with waterworks suddenly planned. Sometimes these things just line up to give you a bad morning, don't they?
What did he plan for this time of day?
It's a great question.
Peak hour. Going into peak hour.
All right, let's check traffic broadly, and when we come back, we'll get some answers on some of these issues from SAPOL. We'll check the weather too with the Bureau. Louver House, the leaders in turning your outdoor space into a great entertainment area with an opening and closing roof.
Thanks, Will, and morning, David. At Mansfield Park, a nasty crash on Hanson Road at Grand Junction Road. Got delays there at the moment. Glen Osmond, truck breakdown, slowing things up. Portrush Road near Woodley Road. Bruce Waterman at Clovelly Park. Dawes Road at South Road, squeeze at 40. And at Dry Creek, urgent works with road plates in use in Churchill Road near Cormac Road. You find cameras today, Balcombe Avenue, Findon and Grange Road at Grange. Switch to AGL Electricity and you can receive a $200 bill credit on an electricity plan. Switch to AGL today. Full T's and C's at agl.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
There's a lot to love about learning just about anything with WEA. Real-time, face-to-face learning with like-minded people. WEA has 22 language courses on offer and over 80 cooking and wine appreciation courses. Visit wea-sa.com.au.
When your emergency can't wait, Neither should you. At Calvary Adelaide's Emergency Department, you'll experience shorter wait times before receiving personalised care from experienced specialists. With Adelaide's only 24-hour private emergency department, Calvary provides emergency care at any time with no time spared. For fast, specialist private emergency care, get care 24/7 at the Calvary Adelaide Emergency Department, 120 Angus Street, Adelaide.
City Discount Tires.
Get saving this month at City Discount Tires. When you buy 3 Falcon CT60 tyres, you'll get the 4th tyre free. The perfect tyre for crossovers such as Honda CR-V and Toyota RAV4. City Discount Tires are a proud multi-tyre and wheel brand retailer offering great service at great prices. Visit citydiscounttires.com.au to find your nearest store. City Discount Tires. We're driven by value.
City Discount Tires.
Are you thinking about a sea change? Where you can walk to the beach and be part of a close community? Think Oakford Homes at Encounter Bay. You can live in a brand new low maintenance home with all facilities close by. Fixed price turnkey packages, flat land, ready to build. Move in now or invest for the future. Oakford Homes at Encounter Bay. Come down for a drive and look through our display village and see why Stage 1 is nearly sold out. Oakford Homes, a statement of quality. oakfordhomes.com.au.
There's a lot to love about learning just about anything with WEA. Real-time, face-to-face learning with like-minded people. Learn about subdividing land and property development or gardening in a changing climate. Visit wea-sa.com.au.
Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base, search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
Thirty minutes to 7, same poll in a moment, but first let's head to the Weather Bureau. Dominic Panuccio joins us. Dominic, good morning to you, mate. What kind of day do we have ahead?
Yeah, good morning. It's pretty much more of the same of what we've seen the last couple of days. The weather systems are pretty stationary at the moment, with that high-pressure ridge continuing to extend across the state, directing a light to moderate and relatively cool southerly airstream for the Adelaide area. It was a slightly milder night last night in Adelaide to what we've seen the last couple of mornings, and the temperature in the city got down to, actually it's on its minimum temperature right now at 13.4 degrees. It's been a bit cooler just north of the outer northern suburbs of Adelaide, with Roseworthy getting to 8 degrees overnight. There's still a little bit of light shower activity pushing up the Gulf. We might see a very light shower about some of the Adelaide suburbs this morning, but it's mostly dry conditions today. Top temperature for Adelaide today is looking to get to around about 22 degrees. Similar for tomorrow again, with 21 degrees, partly cloudy conditions. The clouds should mention get some breaks during this afternoon. So hopefully that happens and we get to that slightly warmer day of 22. 21 tomorrow, 21 on Saturday. I think all the showers will have cleared by then, so it's looking like a nicer weekend. And again, similar temperature for Sunday, maybe slightly warmer with lighter winds and 22 degrees. It gets a little bit uncertain moving into the early part of next week. There's a mid-level feature pushing in from the west. So not too sure what that will do, probably not much. There might just be a couple more showers associated with that, but as to exactly where, it's a bit uncertain. That also means it's a bit uncertain as to how much cloud cover there will be, which might affect the temperature. But at this stage, we're looking at very little change in temperatures, getting up to around about that 22-degree mark into early next week as well.
Beautiful stuff, Dominic. Dominic Panuccio there for the Weather Bureau.
All right, let's head to SAPOL. Senior Constable Kate Dawson is on the line. Kate, there's some harrowing audio and vision on the news last night of what is now clearly a murder that took place at Welland yesterday. When we were speaking about it during the program before 9 o'clock yesterday, the details were scant. For listeners that didn't see the news last night, just bring us up to speed with all that we know now about that case and indeed the outstanding people thought responsible.
Yeah, so Major Crime are investigating a murder of a man at Welland yesterday. Has now been declared a major crime. So this all unfolded about 1:20 a.m. yesterday morning. 21-year-old Flinders Park man William Holdback had arranged to meet someone on Musgrave Street at Welland when an altercation occurred. So Will tried to run away, but he was caught by the suspect on Bar Powell Street, where he was stabbed and killed. So this suspect then jumped into the passenger side of a dark-coloured four-door sedan and left the area. We've got a picture of this car and some moving vision on our website and on Facebook, if you want to jump on there and have a look. Brave members of the public who had heard the incident unfolding attempted to render assistance to William, but sadly there was nothing they could do to save him. So major crime detectives have been on the job all night and will be back out and about today hunting for who's responsible. We've had a number of helpful calls to Crime Stoppers already, but still, if we're just asking anybody if you've got any information, if you can, have a look at this car, maybe identify it, or anyone with any dashcam footage in the area, in the Welland area, about 1:20 a.m. yesterday morning, please contact Crime Stoppers on 1-800 333 000.
Yeah, that was just astonishing, the whole background to it, Kate. And it looks like police have got plenty to work on here. The car, you've got the rego, the footage is extraordinary. So hopefully, the best thing these blokes could do is hand themselves in, surely.
Yeah, I agree. And, Doc Bray said in his press conference yesterday, he sounds very confident. So it is really only a matter of time before they're caught up with by major crime detectives. So, yes, you're right. The best thing they could do is just attend any police station and hand themselves in.
Yeah, for sure. And also, Kate, some bloke's been arrested in Glenelg South after climbing onto somebody else's balcony. What's the story there?
Yeah, this was about 3:30 a.m. this morning. The occupant of a unit on South Esplanade at Glenelg South reported seeing a man up on their second-floor balcony. So upon seeing the occupants inside, the suspects freaked out and fled, jumping back down into the Esplanade and running from the scene. Western patrols quickly attended and they set up cordons, calling in PD Chaos. PD Chaos tracked along Broadway, where she located the suspect a short distance away. Chaos negotiated with this man for a short time before he was placed under arrest. This 33-year-old Plimpton man has been charged with being unlawfully on premises and he'll be appearing in court by a later date. So really good job there by patrols and PD Chaos.
Oh, Chaos always gets his man. Good stuff. Thank you, Kate. Kate Dawson there from SOPOL, Senior Constable Kate Dawson.
We're talking this morning about music venues, and our Alberton correspondent Dave Lloyd's part of a Facebook group called I Went Off in Adelaide during the live music scene in the 1980s and 90s.
Very familiar with that Facebook group.
Are you?
Yeah,
he sent
excellent.
through a picture of a page of the Advertiser from October 1985 that features all the live music and venues. And I've got to say, you compare that to the equivalent offering today, and it looks particularly paltry. Tonight, tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's got everything from being the Adelaide Uni Bar in the city. I'm just looking at what's on Saturday night, to the Austral, Bon Gusto Restaurant, Benithan Park, Bridgeway. You can tell it's alphabetical order, but this gives you some sense of how many venues there are. Bridgeway, the Black Lion, Belair, Commercial Hotel. You go down Para Hills. Anyway, it's a stunning thing that we should tweet and put up because it gives you a sense of how much live music there used to get played. But he's also something featured on the on this little Facebook group called DB Magazine. You familiar with DB Magazine?
Yeah, it was started in 1989, maybe later than that. Maybe 91 or 2. It lasted until quite recently, DB Magazine.
Well, there's an edition, Volume 1, Issue 17, from May 13 to 26, 1992, that Dave's found. Are you aware of this issue?
I might be, when I'm reminded of it.
Well, it features a long review of a Buzzcocks gig and the support band that night. Your old band...
FIVEAA, as they're now known.
FIVEAA.
They've rebranded for a more enlightened age that we now occupy.
I might read that review after 7 o'clock this morning, so stay listening. So it's actually, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Dave Eccles wrote that review. He now works for In Daily.
Is that right?
Yeah, he reviewed it.
Are you familiar with the review?
I have seen it, not for a long time.
All right, we'll
it must be doing the rounds again.
I think it's on that website. It's on the Facebook page. So we might read that after 7 o'clock.
Dear.
Thank you to our Alberton correspondent, Dave Lloyd.
On you, Dave.
In the meantime, it's time to head to the US to catch up with Tim Lester for 7 News. Tim, we were talking about this just about 15 minutes ago, the surprise revelation from US President Joe Biden that he, at very least, is considering a request from the Australian government to release Julian Assange to Australia, or at least not pursue him on the many charges he's being chased on.
Indeed, it is a surprise. It is a surprise because we'd virtually everything we've heard at a US government level over a lot of years now has been to throw cold water on the idea they'd ever stop pursuing Julian Assange. And in Biden himself, as vice president under Obama, called Assange a terrorist. So this is quite significant. Just an offhand comment from the president, but nonetheless suggests that there is a real, or says there is a real consideration going on to drop the charges and let him go home to Australia.
Yeah, it's a huge about face, though, isn't it? I mean, are you sure Joe Biden has got him confused with somebody else? It's pretty weird, given the previous position that they've taken on him.
Well, it's quite profound given the past. I don't think so. In the little bit of context, he was hosting or had been hosting the Japanese Prime Minister and walking with the Japanese Prime Minister Kishida at the Rose Garden when he was put this question out of the blue. He didn't hear it at first, said, "What did you say?" And it came in a second answer, and he gave a very offhand, "We're considering it." But it would be unusual for him to say that unless there is a very active consideration. And also he was talking about Australia at this press conference with Japan. So Australian relations are on his mind, and he now knows this is something that Australia, in a pretty unified way, is demanding. So I think it's plausible that he really is thinking that they've got to do it.
Good stuff, Tim. Tim Lester there for 7 News in their US Bureau with the latest on Julian Assange. How's this text on the Dutton's text line from Nathan in Seaford? On rent, and I presume this is talking about a place he's living in Seaford. He says, on rent increases annually over the past few years, my rent went from $385 to $460 a week. I've recently received an offer to extend the lease, but at the new price of $600. Oh. So that's a $215 increase in just over a year. I was forced to explore other options, and I'm happy to say I've just signed a contract to build my first home. And the repayments on my brand new home will be cheaper than the amount of rent the landlord was asking. Go figure.
Isn't that amazing?
That's extraordinary.
$385 to $600 in just a few years.
That is just crazy.
Nearly a doubling of rents. What's everyone's wages gone up in that time?
Yeah.
2%?
Yeah, if you're lucky.
Morning to you, Luce.
Hello, I've just taken a call off air. So those waterworks that the traffic map tells me are there, apparently not there at all.
False alarm.
So anyone going through St Mary's, they may not be held up by waterworks this morning.
Well done.
But someone else said that there's
But they might still avoid the area because the map's telling them to.
I know, and...
Whose map is it?
traffic.sa.gov.au.
Okay, come on, Gov.
Come on, .gov.au.
But we had a
dot finger out.
We had a text earlier to say that there's been waterworks to Darlington all the time anyway. So I think maybe it's just like a permanent FYI.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
They just never. It's easier just to leave it on the map permanently.
Anyway,
Just work on the basis that the pipe's going to explode again.
South Road will be normal traffic today.
Thank you, Lucy. 5 to 8 news time. Our wrap of the morning's big stories next.
What starts with A and ends with E? Supplements for you and me.
Arbor Vitae health supplements are now available at Chemist Warehouse for just $49.99 a bottle. You save over $19 a bottle at Chemist Warehouse.
Arbor Vitae.
Experience the wonders of the world in comfort and style with Phil Hoffman Travel, Trafalgar and Insight Vacations. Save up to 15% on selected 2024 tours worldwide with Trafalgar and Insight Vacations, plus exclusive savings of up to $400 per couple. From must-sees to local secrets, unique experiences and delicious dining. Make your dream holiday a reality with Trafalgar and Insight Vacations. Contact Phil Hoffman Travel. Visit pht.com.au.
Pathology is an essential part of our healthcare system, and 70% of all our medical decisions rely on pathology tests. They help GPs and other healthcare professionals diagnose illnesses, diseases and infections, and we all benefit from pathology being bulk billed. But government funding hasn't increased in 24 years, so to keep pathology affordable and accessible for all Australians, visit keeppathologybulkbilled.com.au. Authorised by LWET, Australian Pathology Canberra.
Hey, you in the car. If your next service is due, just remember that Mawson Lakes Mazda has your back. We'll take care of you with next day servicing, complimentary loan car, vacuum and wash, and your breakfast or lunch is on us. Your car gets the love too, with our state-of-the-art service centre brimming with top-trained mechanics. At Mawson Lakes Mazda, we'll look after your car and look after you. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city.
Most new homes are not designed for specialist disability living, which is fine for some homeowners. But if you're living with a disability and want to build a home that complies with the NDIS SDA guidelines, you need Rossdale Home Life. Rossdale Home Life is leading the way in the provision of accessible housing for all South Australians, and our dedicated Home Life team can provide professional advice on the design and construction of your new home or SDA investment property. Rossdale Homes, because trust is a must.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
The very latest news and information. This is 5AA News, always Adelaide.
Partly cloudy and 22 today with the 7 o'clock news. Good morning. I'm Graham Goodings.
Injured or living with chronic pain? Book an appointment at Physio Extra today. 6 locations. physioextra.com.
The hunt for the killer of William Holback continues today. The 21-year-old was stabbed in Bar Powell Street, Welland, in the early hours of yesterday morning. He was in the area for what police believe was a clandestine meeting. The events were caught on CCTV, the victim speaking to people in a car. Economists predict the cost of rentals will start to plateau in coming months as the affordability ceiling is reached. House rent costs have reached a record high in capital cities, sitting at an average of $630 per week. Domain's Dr. Nicola Powell says it's the biggest quarterly increase in 17 years, but we should see the pendulum shift later this year.
What our expectation is at some point this year, we will start to see that vacancy rate edge higher. We've got to think that population growth is likely to have peaked, and we've also got first-home buyer incentives coming into place. So Help to Buy is meant to come into place next financial year.
The federal government is planning legislation to boost manufacturing in Australia. The Prime Minister will use a speech in Brisbane to announce the Future Made in Australia Act. It'll include existing renewable energy and defence projects, and new measures will be outlined in next month's budget. Similar legislation exists in the US, Europe, Japan and Canada. Gather Round has kicked another goal with more than 9,000 free heart and diabetes checks conducted during the AFL's Festival of Footy. Health Minister Chris Picton says the primary goal of the screening initiative was to improve health outcomes, reduce the incidence of cardiovascular disease and type 2 diabetes through earlier treatment and lifestyle changes.
We had a real success out of the health checks that we've done together with the Shane Warne Legacy Foundation through the course of Gather Round. This is something that the state government wanted to bring to South Australia as part of Gather Round to help people who wouldn't otherwise be getting their health checks and their heart checks done.
For the first time in Olympics history, athletes will be paid cash prizes if they win gold at the Paris Games. Europe correspondent Brett McLeod.
World Athletics says gold medalists in 48 events will be awarded $50,000. It's a big break with tradition in the 128-year history of the modern Olympic Games, given that professional athletes were barred from competing for decades. World Athletics Chief Sebastian Coe says the move is to make sport more financially viable for athletes, but he made the announcement before consulting the International Olympic Committee. Bronze and silver medalists are to receive monetary prizes at the 2028 Los Angeles Games.
And now turning to 5AA Sports.
Colours, custom design, any house, any style. Gliderol Garage Doors. Gliderol.com.au.
And here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Graham. 41st and Port Adelaide is set to be without forward Jeremy Finlayson for the next 3 weeks after he was suspended by the AFL Tribunal for his homophobic slur during the match against Essendon last week. The Power will have Sam Powell-Pepper available, though, after he served his 4-match ban for a bump in the pre-season, while Ollie Wines is also a chance to come back. The Crows will also name their side to take on Carlton tonight, while the round kicks off this evening with Melbourne hosting Brisbane at the MCG. Well, a great win for Aussie Alexei Poprin moving into the round of 16 at the Monte Carlo Masters, following a hard-fought straight sets win against the defending champion Andrei Rublev. The 24-year-old understandably delighted with the result.
He's probably the best hitter from the baseline when you give him rhythm, so I tried to, change the pace, change the height, change the spin, and I think it worked for me really well today.
Fantastic stuff. Audio thanks to Fox. Now, by winning, Popram became the first Aussie in 20 years to advance to the round of 16 at Monte Carlo, and he was soon joined by another Aussie, Alex de Minaur, who came from a set down to beat Talon Griekspoor in 3 sets. In some cricket, another brilliant performance from Adelaide striker Rashid Khan, taking 1 for 18 off his 4 overs before hitting the winning runs to help his Gujarat Titans to a last ball victory. That was against the Rajasthan Royals in the IPL. Khan was awarded man of the match. And 2 games in the European Champions League this morning. Barcelona 3-2 winners against Paris Saint-Germain, while Atletico Madrid beat Borussia Dortmund 2-1. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Lynn Andrews Real Estate, experts in commercial and residential property management. lynnandrews.com.au.
At Mansfield Park, nasty crash at Hanson Road at Green Junction Road, delays there. Glen Osmond, truck breakdown, Port Rice Road near Woodley Road, and Cloverleigh Park Road, plates in use after a burst water main repair on South Road at Dawes Road, speeds at 40 k's. You'll find cameras this morning, Grange Road, Grange, and Port Road at Queenstown. Pick up a rich, velvety, smooth barista coffee at Jack's Cafe with $2 medium coffee and $3 medium iced drinks available all day. On app only and pick up at Hungry Jack's. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
And now the 5AA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your Automaster's technician.
22 and partly cloudy today, tomorrow partly cloudy 21, Saturday partly cloudy 22, then Sunday partly cloudy 22. Right now in Adelaide, that's where we live, it's 20, no it's not, it's 13 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
In Adelaide and across South Australia, this is 5AA, always Adelaide.
Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base, search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
Sounds to me like someone had a late night at the Budgerigar Association's 50th anniversary. Yeah, it's tough to burn the candle at both ends.
We've had quite a few good budgie-related puns as well, inspired by your old man heading along to the budgie glittering night of nights last night, the 50th anniversary of the Budgie Association. John from Trott Park says, I couldn't make it to the budgie night, but I did send them a nice tweet.
Very good. Thank you. A lot of good texts, actually. We'll get to some more of those on the Dutton's text line. Dutton's Mitsubishi, the new gen Triton has landed. Book your test drive today. Dutton's easy to do business with. We'll do that very, very shortly. I think the most relevant news for people waking up this morning that rely on public transport is that SA train operators will stop work today between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. due to this pay dispute between the Rail, Tram and Bus Union and Keolis Downer, who currently operate the network over pay and conditions. There are stoppages planned for Tuesday next week. That's the 16th of April. That'll be earlier, between 6 and 8 a.m. and Wednesday, the 17th of April, between 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. So they're obviously trying to capture as many people as possible and inconvenience them. Today, though, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. is the period, so it'll be the middle of the day, probably the one that'll cause the least inconvenience, but still annoying.
Feels like it's just the start, though, doesn't it, from what the union's saying?
Well, it does. Let's have a listen. Here's Hayden Boyle from the Rail Union talking about the discrepancy between their pay demands and the pay offer.
Fortunately, it's come to this because Keolis Downer, the operator, are refusing to budge on their wage offer. They're currently offering 14.7% increase over 4 years, which works out roughly to be around the 3.5% per year. We're seeking 5% per year.
I do give the union credit. They've been totally transparent about this, because so often the core issue is money, as it is as anyone's pay negotiation. But the unions will dance around and say, oh, it's not just that, we really want, and they won't give you a straight answer on what they're after. So I give the union some credit, just saying this is what we want, and this is what we're being offered, and frankly, it's not good enough at this point in time. The intriguing part, based on a call we received to the program yesterday from someone in the know, is that 4-year component of the agreement. So it's 2024. Keolis Downer will return operation of the network to the government January 31st next year, so within a year. They'll also hand over customer services and security operations by June 2027. So it may well be today a negotiation with a private operator, but it's effectively a negotiation with us, the taxpayer.
Yeah, that's right. Because they are shifting across to state ownership, state control.
Because to this point in time, whenever you've heard from the state government on this, you should have said, well, this is what happens. This is what happens when we don't have control of the network. Well, but we're going to. And do we inherit the deal? Interested in hearing what the state government's got to say on that. We're going to hear a fair bit today about what actually, let's have a listen to a few of the people that are out and about that rely on the train service, that are reliant on it, and have been told about the disruptions.
Well, I'm a bit upset now. I have to plan something else to do tomorrow. I was going to get the train down to Seacliff.
I would say it's a shame, you know. Everybody wants too much money and then nothing works.
Well, people rely on the train to get to town and to get to work, and they have no consideration for anyone else except for themselves.
That's courtesy of Channel 10 News
Never
last night.
Never a popular step, is it?
No.
The union would say, though, that they've had no choice because they've been pushed into this because the offer hasn't been good enough. A lot of people trying to catch the train, I think, would be less than sympathetic to that argument.
We're going to hear from the Prime Minister today and what he's trying to build up to be something of a landmark speech. The speech text seems like provided to News Limited. It's written about extensively on the front page in the Oz and in the Ties of this day. It will be a speech at the Queensland Media Club in which he's going to talk about support for small business, startups and service industries, arguing for economic transformation. He's going to say that Australia cannot afford to be left behind, running on the fumes of past economic reforms. I think probably referring far back as Paul Keating in the 80s when he was Treasurer. He's saying other global superpowers are advancing their national interests. The Australia this morning are talking about what he's going to announce as a Future Made in Australia Act, similar to a US version of this that Joe Biden announced in the last couple of years, that will be announced to coordinate new and existing projects to drive investment. Mr Albanese will say in the speech, as the Treasurer Jim Chalmers has put it, Australia's economy is not productive enough, not resilient enough, and it's not competitive enough. He's going to say, and this is key in talking to a Queensland audience, that we need to add value to our resources because we are... Remember,
instead of sending everything overseas for other people to do stuff with, we should do it ourselves.
One of my favourite statistics is about the measure of economic complexity around the globe. The complexity of the Australian economy is similar to Namibia. Complexity in this case is a good thing because it speaks to the diversity in the economy, how much value adding gets done. We, like Namibia, just dig stuff up and send it overseas without adding anything to it. So he's going to talk about trying to improve that. He's also going to call the government to be more proactive in order to leverage our ability to produce things here in Australia and be competitive in doing it. This all sounds great. I reckon everyone listening right now says, good. I cannot wait to see what practically comes of it.
Yeah, and aren't there other things that would have more of an impact on the ability of businesses to do these things that he's talking about, e.g. the cost of energy?
Yeah.
I would have thought there's other ways to come at it. I mean, you know, if you were John Howard, you'd say the way you come at things like this is called work choices. You know, like there's a whole bunch
labour costs.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's funny. It sounds like some of the things that he's saying we should do with our resources are the very things we're not allowed to do anymore.
I wonder if does value adding include things like enrichment?
Not of uranium.
Yeah, exactly right. Do you remember this from 1981?
Get into a new place, get into your new gollywobble. Gollywobble, what's a mouthful? A creamy sensor, so you better get your new gollywobble.
Apologise, it's not the greatest audio, but we're talking...
What is that jingle?
It's 43 years ago. The ad...
Sounds like the Uncanny X-Men.
The ad for the Polywaffle, which itself has been out of production for some 15 years... but in news announced yesterday by the local manufacturer, chocolate manufacturer Men's, they're bringing back the Polywaffle in 125 grams at $5.50 each. They'll be sold at Drake's and Men's Fruit shops and online. The Polywaffle was invented by Hoadley's Chocolate back in 1947. It was then bought by UK-based company Rowntree's in 1972, Nestle in 1988, went out of production then in 2009, and Men's bought the intellectual property, they bought the recipe, and they're bringing it back, albeit in a bite-sized version rather than a bar version. Here's Phil Sims from Men's.
The brand is back. We've had a few little hurdles around recipe and shelf life expectations, so we've had to extend that. And that's just the market moving on a little bit since the bar was around. We ran into COVID, so that sort of had challenges around the equipment.
I didn't even know that the Polywaffle had disappeared. Is it Leith who's obsessed with polywaffles, or is that Violent Crumbles?
Leith.
Sorry, Leith. One of my son's best mates is called Leith. I always get I as a result, I mispronounce both of their names.
Is he obsessed with? I don't think it's. I think it's Violet Crumble.
Violet Crumble. I'm pretty sure it's the Violet Crumble.
Yeah. Sam says anything like that.
Maybe I'm thinking of Leith.
You could well be. Well, Leith will be happy. Or Leith will be happy. One of them, or both of them, or neither of them will be quite happy.
Yeah.
Now, we just heard the Prime Minister, we just mentioned the speech that he's going to be making today, this sort of vision statement for a more made-in-Australia future. He's going to be made in Queensland a little bit later this morning, the text of which we've got hold of. But he's just spoken on Sunrise. In the last few moments, let's have a listen to him setting the tone for this big speech today.
Australia can compete, that's the good news. And there is a global race for jobs and opportunity, and Australia wants to be in it to win it. That is what a future made in Australia is about. We can compete with the rest of the world, and we can beat the rest of the world with the natural resources that we have under the ground and in the sky. We can be the world's biggest producer of green hydrogen, powering a new generation of advanced manufacturing, having green metals, producing batteries here, making sure that we have a resilient economy. That's what it's about. This isn't about the old protectionism, it's about the new competition, which is there right around the world, and Australia needs to compete and to be in this, otherwise the world will just go past us.
There you go. I still don't know what any of that means.
So the leading battery manufacturer in the world is China. I laud the Prime Minister's optimism. It's fantastic. We're going to compete with China because we weren't going to on labour. We're not going to on economies of scale.
No.
Maybe there's a niche component of the industry that we could specialise in.
Well, the hydrogen stuff sounds like it's got huge potential.
Yeah, sure.
And that's something that South Australia is hopefully going to be playing a part in. And there's people who are involved in that who aren't of the sort of, Labor blindly sort of, sort of excited about our renewables future. I mean, Alexander Down is involved in one of those businesses, saying that actually there's a business case for it. If we can get this new technology up and running, it could actually work. And I know that Adelaide Uni's playing a role in some stuff that's happening out in the sort of mid north of the state. So that's something, but it's very hard to wrap your head around.
It is. We're interested to see what comes out of this a little bit later today. So watch this space on that one. In the first hour, we were talking about places you've had your 21st venues. You had your 21st down. We got a spectacular call from Amber, who suggested no one will beat her for having a incredible backdrop to her for 21st. She had it at Ayers Rock at Uluru when she used to work in one of the hotels that were around, the motels around it. Well, we got this comment from John in Glengarry. I think he emailed us, John. This is great. John says, so his birthday was the 18th of March 1968. At the time, he was serving on HMAS Parramatta. It was anchored in Singapore roads before entering harbour on the 19th of March for what was John's first trip to the Far East. Last night at sea, so no beer issue. Spent my 21st sitting on the quarterdeck of the Parramatta. I could see the lights of Singapore. I could smell Singapore. So on the 8th working, had a ball on the 19th though, says John. That is a pretty remarkable backdrop. Imagine being a 21-year-old at sea heading to Asia for the first time in 1968 when it was something that far fewer people did.
Yeah.
How exotic and a location that would have been to spend the night of your 21st.
Singapore would have been a wild old place then as well. Like it was very much in its infancy. It had none of the development that we associate now with it being, one of the world's biggest financial centres. Lee Kuan Yew was only just sort of getting started then, I think. He sort of came around in the mid-60s, didn't he?
I love that. I love that image. You can close your eyes, but you're sitting on the deck of the Parramatta, which was a reasonably big ship, smelling and seeing the lights of this incredible new world that you hadn't visited before. What a great way to bring in your 21st.
A lot of great text as well from people. Quentin with a Q says, back in 1988, I spent my 21st at the Darwin Amphitheatre watching Tina Turner perform for me and 15,000 of my closest friends. I was working in Katherine at the time, so I didn't have my family around. Kaz in Brompton. G'day, Kaz. Kaz came and saw us at the market the other day. She says, my 21st was celebrated with my work colleagues at the Vanity Fair Hotel in Goulburn Street, Sydney. The office moved and soon thereafter the Vanity Fair went broke. Geez, you must have done a very enthusiastic job supporting the pub there, Kaz.
Was the whole business model. All right, let's check traffic. Thanks to Louver House, the leaders in turning your outdoor space into a great entertainment area with an opening and closing roof.
Thanks, Will. At Mansfield Park, nasty crash and Hanson Road at Grand Junction Road delays there. Glen Osmond, truck breakdown, Port Rush Road near Woodley Road. Clovelly Park, road plates in use after reverse water main repair on South Road at Dawes Road, speeds at 40. Getting busy, Tapley's Hill Road at Glenorg North or the Camera Grange Road at Grange. Experience the entire Mini range at Glenorg Mini Garage, Adelaide's independent family-owned Mini dealership. Experience the fun that follows a Mini at Glenorg Mini Garage. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA Mornings with Matthew Pantelis.
Michael at Woodville.
The driver's what, 22% over 5 years.
Is that right? 22%?
A mate of mine is very high up in Colestown and we had to cancel all our crowns over Easter because he had to spend the entire holiday working to stop them from striking during gather round.
Matthew Pantelis.
No one minds being reasonable. 22 over 5 years, that's never going to happen.
Weekday mornings from 9 on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Australian Idol winner Damien Leith returns to Her Majesty's Theatre this May with his acclaimed Roy Orbison orchestrated show, paying tribute to the Big O with a 35-piece concert orchestra. Hear Crying, Blue Bayou, Oh Pretty Woman, and so many more. Live at Her Majesty's Theatre Friday, May 10. Roy Orbison orchestrated with Damien Leith. Book now at Ticketek.
Thank you very much. You've been an awesome audience. Thank you so much.
In tough times, it's the simple things that make a big difference. Like $19 schnitzel days at the Birkenhead Tavern, Excelsior and the Lighthouse Wharf. We know the humble schnitty can't fix all our problems, but we do know it'll put a smile on your dial. $19 schnitty, Mondays, Tuesdays and Wednesdays at the Birkenhead Tavern, Excelsior and the Lighthouse Wharf. Making the world a better place, one schnitty at a time. Gotta start somewhere. You just know it's a Barreau Hotel.
What's got Mike singing? Mike just got an energy-efficient heat pump installed by EcoVantage. Not only is it using nearly 80% less energy than his old hot water system and saving hundreds off his power bills, he got it for free. Thanks to federal and SA government incentives, you can get your own energy-efficient heat pump from just $0. Pump your energy bills down with EcoVantage. Visit ecovantage.com.au.
You know when you really need to go? You can't hold on any longer, you'll do almost anything. Well, that's what it's like at Edwardstown Mazda right now. They have a ton of demo Mazdas that really need to go. All colours and models, all barely driven and all ready to go at unbelievable drive-away prices. Buying a demo is a great way to get into your dream Mazda and buying it from Edwardstown Mazda makes it extra special. Demo sale on now.
It's gotta be
Edwardstown Mazda.
Since I got these new shoes from Gilmore's, I can do even more dance moves. Here, hold my phone.
Oh, Grandma, do we have to do this here?
Oh, don't be silly. The light is great. I've got more than 80 followers, you know. You're out with an influencer.
My grandma, the influencer. Just wow.
Well, you can thank Gilmore's for that. My followers love seeing the new shoes I've bought.
I know. I've read some of the comments. Actually pretty good.
I told you I'm trending.
Ugh. Gilmore's Comfort Shoes, South Road, Melrose Park, opposite Castle Plaza.
Join the great cover-up and get a Woolco Guardian pool cover. Made right here in SA, a Woolco Guardian pool cover will preserve your chemicals, keep your water clean, and you won't need to run your pump. Put your pool to bed for winter. Visit woolco.com.au.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base, search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
24 minutes after 7, Matt Abraham will join us after 7:30. We'll dissect the spin of the week with Matt very shortly, and a big final hour on the show as well. Breaking at 8, we've got the sound off for the Carolette Smart Dialer, so if there's something you want to get off your chest, start thinking about it now, and be prepared to vent after 8 o'clock, and you can win yourself that Carolette Smart Dialer. Josh Rochelle on the program, and Port Adelaide Chairman David Koch as well. Looking forward to that chat with Koshy. Let's turn our attention to sport now, though. I tell you what, the callers went off on the sports show last night with Rowie and Timmy G. They were Crows fans, you can imagine, who are not happy with the direction of their footy club. Have a listen.
We lose McAdam. We've got no Thilthorpe. We haven't got, so it's not the same forward line as we've had last year. It's not even close. We're moving Rankin to try and play more on the ball instead of where we need him really, which is goals. We're not playing midfielders like Pedler in the midfield. So you think you play Pedler in the midfield and Rankin up forward, and we're still going with the same mix. Like, it just does not make any sense to me.
The Crows' biggest problem is the loss of players. Dangerfield, Cameron, Lever. It's more than this list stuff. That's been the problem, what I see. They've got to learn to hang on to these players. Look, you put those blokes in that team, you see a different lineup, mate.
The last 9 years, we've drafted nothing. And in any organisation, boys, when you don't perform, you lose your job. We have not started the rebuild yet. We need to start it now because our talent pool is that poor. We're 10 years from a flag. So therefore, if you don't get rid of your recruiters, the board should step down immediately.
There's a phenomenon that needs a name and needs to be studied by science that is irresistible and true, and it defies culture and I think sport. But wherever there's passionate groups of people, that there's a sort of collective supporter angst and anger that takes on a life of itself, and it has a self-generating momentum, and it is irresistible. And I think the problem for the Adelaide Football Club now, it's building. This is building. This is because you can say it's 4 weeks into a season, but it's 7 weeks 7 years into a rebuild, and the wick at the end of that stick of dynamite is really short.
Yeah,
and just listening to the sports show and the Crows callers, I think it's ready to go off. And if it's not this week against Carlton, it's going to be in the next month. And from that point in time, I think the club has got a huge issue around managing a supporter base that frankly is right in demanding more.
Yeah.
And demanding action.
I think the thing, we're talking about the concept of the wick. Port supporters would remember, I can't remember the year, but it was back when they were, the Tarps era. When poor old Dom Cassisi was doing such a heroic job trying to keep the show on the road as captain. They were having all the off-field dramas before Koshy arrived. But that game when they lost, it might have even been the first game GWS ever won.
Oh, at Footy Park?
No, I think it was on the road. But Port got beaten by GWS. And that was the sort of, right, that's it. That's it. The danger for the club, I don't think there's a single sensible Crows supporter who thinks they're going to beat Carlton on the weekend.
No.
But it would be something like, imagine losing to Essendon at home. Imagine serving up some of the mediocre football that they have in the first month. If that was to happen,
that's where the week ignites. And North the next week in Tassie, where the Crows have historically been bad. And at that point,
again,
I think
North go into that favourite.
No,
don't they? At the
I don't think they go into a favourites.
Don't they?
No, but I'd listen to an argument.
I'm just talking about psychology here.
I'm not that solid on it. Yeah, I think you're right. That said, I think it'll make people sick if suddenly you lose to Carlton this week. You're 1-5. You come out and beat Essendon and say we're on the right track.
Yeah. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, Will. Let's take it 1 week at a time.
I'm a big getting ahead of myself guy. I can't.
You think about it so much more than I do. You think about it the way most Crows people do.
It depresses me, that's why.
This is why you need to get into gardening.
I vacillate between anger and just depression.
I planted some kale yesterday. That was 20 minutes. I pulled
that
out all
sounds
the
calming.
zucchinis. Yeah, it is calming.
That sounds calming.
You go out there, you smell the soil, you put some dynamic lifter in. You just got to find something to recharge your brain. Because I tell you, there's another 19 rounds to go.
All right. I might have to take that advice.
I'll get you some seedlings.
Thank you. More opportunity.
And an Enya CD.
To have your say on the Sports Show tonight with Rowie and Timmy G. Selection tonight, I think, will be very interesting. 5AA News is coming up back shortly.
Looking into solar? Look into Exceed Solar. Long before Exceed Solar were a company, the owners were climbing on roofs all over South Australia, installing solar panels, inverters and batteries. Exceed Solar have seen it all, because they've done it all, literally. And because they're qualified electricians, not salespeople, they know firsthand what will give you the best possible results for many years to come. That's the big Exceed Solar difference. Exceed Solar. Built on knowledge, not a hard sell.
With help from Fluorio Milk Company, cafes all over Adelaide have joined the fight to reduce plastic waste. Instead of single-use plastic bottles, they've introduced reusable 18-litre kegs. Over recent months, a phenomenal amount of single-use plastic bottles have been eliminated, and every day the tally grows. FIVEAA Milk Company, together with cafes, supermarkets, schools, restaurants, hotels and workplaces, expect to save our planet from millions of single-use plastic bottles. Visit FIVEAAmilkco.com.au for more.
If you need a window, and not just anything will do, just call Statesman Windows, factory direct to you.
Nobody beats Statesman Windows, not on quality and certainly not on service. Windows, sliding doors, bifolds and more, made right here in Adelaide, factory direct to you. For windows when and where you want them, call Statesman Windows, states.com.au.
Windows when and where you want them. Windows when and where you want them.
New Zealand. Spectacular, safe, friendly and the perfect getaway destination. Holiday Wonders offers the most value-packed 17-day fully inclusive Grand Pacific holiday package. Fly direct from Adelaide with Air New Zealand and tour both the North and South Islands with meals, accommodation and endless highlights. Enjoy over $1,000 per couple in bonus value and a $200 per person discount. Regular departures available from September 2024 to May 2025. holidaywonders.com.au.
This is 5AA News, always Adelaide.
Partly cloudy and 22 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Graham Goodings.
Everybody is unique. Let the Physio Extra team take care of your specific needs. PhysioExtra.com.
Our trains will be hit by industrial action later this morning. Drivers will stop work from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. as part of a dispute over pay and conditions after negotiations with private operator Keola's Dun are stalled. Opposition Transport spokesman Vincent Tarzia says it's time the government intervened.
We think it's now reached a point where it's really unfair that everyday South Australians should be impacted by this strike action. It's going to affect people going to work, going to school, going about their daily business, medical visits. We think it's unfair on everyday South Australians, and that's why we're calling on the Transport Minister and the Premier to now step in and end this dispute.
Police say they've had a number of helpful calls to Crime Stoppers as they investigate a murder at Welland early yesterday. 21-year-old William Holdback had gone to the area to meet up with someone when an altercation occurred. Senior Constable Kate Dawson says he tried to run away but was fatally stabbed in Barpal Street.
This suspect then jumped into the passenger side of a dark-coloured four-door sedan and left the area. We've got a picture of this car and some moving vision on our website and on Facebook if you want to jump on there and have a look.
The state government is giving victims of crime a stronger voice in South Australia's criminal justice system. Attorney General Kaya Ma says victims should have the right to tell courts, in their own words, exactly how an offender's criminal actions have affected the victims' lives.
We're going to make sure victims know their rights, their ability to make a victim impact statement, and the legislated right to have proceedings adjourned where they haven't had a proper opportunity. But more importantly, we're going to make sure that the victim's words of what the court hears are to make sure that their statements aren't edited and they can tell the court in exactly their own words the effect that a crime's had on them.
Both houses and units are more expensive to rent than ever before in SA. That's according to Domain's latest quarterly report. The biggest rental increases have been recorded in Findon, with units up almost 40%, and in Smithfield Plains, where houses have jumped by close to 30%. The cheapest rents are houses in Salisbury, Karalta Park and Brooklyn Park. When it comes to affordability, Walkerville, Goodwood and West Beach top the most improved list. Australia, the US and Japan have struck a missile deal to boost defence in the Indo-Pacific. The three nations will share more military intelligence and cooperate more closely on anti-missile systems. The agreement is designed to counter China's growing aggression. Anthony Albanese has told Today it'll make Australia safer.
This is about our national defence, and all nations have a right to ensure that their defence capability is maximised. That's precisely what Australia is doing.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, style and safety to your home. Gliderol.com.au.
Good morning, Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Graham. Let's start with footy. Port Adelaide is set to be without Jeremy Finlayson for the next 3 weeks after the AFL suspended him for a homophobic comment he made during last week's clash against Essendon. Teammate Alia says the players will support Finlayson and wrap their arms around him, but he told Channel 9 the incident acts as a big wake-up call.
Words do hurt, they do hurt your feeling and things like that, so particularly us as professional athletes, we have to be mindful on things that we do say, and I think it's just going to be a learning for everyone else in the competition.
The Power take on Fremantle on Saturday night, and coach Justin Longmuir says his team has moved on from their loss to Carlton during gather round. The Dockers conceded 2 late goals against the Blues, with both coming from questionable umpiring decisions.
Yeah, these things pop up, and probably the external noise has hung around a little bit longer on this week and this occasion, but players have moved on. Didn't hear any talk of it yesterday, didn't hear any talk of it this morning. Yeah, we're looking forward to a great challenge this weekend against one of the best teams in the comp.
The teams will be released for that clash, along with the sides for both the Crows and Carlton, that match also being played on Saturday. To tennis, Alexei Poprin and Alex de Minaur are into the round of 16 at the Monte Carlo Masters, following wins for both the Aussies. And we're little more than 12 hours away from the first ball being hit at the US Masters at Augusta, with world number 1 Scotty Scheffler the overwhelming favourite in a field which includes 6 Aussies. Not going to be much sleep, Graham, over the next few days. That is the FIVEAA sport.
And loving it. Thanks, Tom. Now checking FIVEAA traffic.
Lynn Andrews Real Estate, experts in commercial and residential property management. lynnandrews.com.au.
G'day there at Mansfield Park. Look out for an nasty crash this morning. Green Junction Road near Hanson Road. Got a lane out of action and some pretty solid delays there at the moment too. Broken down truck at Glen Osmond. Port Rice Road near Glen Osmond Road also causing delays. And road plates in use at Clovelly Park. That's for works after a burst water main repair on South Road at Dawes Road, speeds at 40. Cameras Grange Road, Grange, and Rosedale Road at Rosedale. Pull out a winner this Thursday night dinner with some pulled pork tacos. Find this and many other easy recipes at pork.com.au and get some pork on your fork. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
And now the 5AA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your Automasters technician.
Partly cloudy and 22 today. Tomorrow partly cloudy 21. Partly cloudy again Saturday 22. Same Sunday partly cloudy 22. Right now it's 14. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base, search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
Out of 10, every time.
Matthew Abraham on 5AA Breakfast.
Yeah, jump on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream to see Matt Abraham live in the breakfast studio with us. Thanks to Mitre 10. Friendly service, expert advice, quality brands at great prices. That's mighty helpful. Mitre 10. He's got the big ruler. He's got the giant A3 piece of paper. He's got his plans with him because architecture is on his mind this morning. Matt, good morning to you.
Good morning.
I thought you might have knocked up another patented Matt Abraham pendulum.
No.
I've still got that in my bag.
Yeah,
I take that with me everywhere now.
My folder. That's right.
I love
it's a
that.
real conversation starter.
You're out at dinner.
Yeah.
You had a look at this.
Don't laugh, Matt. You haven't been to dinner with me.
Hey, honey, before we order the entrees, I just want have you seen the swing required in Colton?
I think we've had that chat.
I know, I was eavesdropping.
Terrible.
Table nearby.
No, I've been astounded this week, and I know that sometimes you feel there's a burden thrust upon you that not many others are shouldering. And so when the press release came in about the new 38-storey Lang Walker Corporation vision for a festival precinct there, that will be between Parliament House and the Festival Theatre, replacing the initial plan of a 3-storey one. And look, there's just so much about this. First of all, the company says, we originally wanted 3 stories, but, we sat down with the government and we realised that actually 38 stories made a lot more sense. And I thought, that'd happen, wouldn't it? Like, you're building a shed and, you sit down with Peter Malinauskas. Originally it's going to be a 4-metre shed and you come out and it's a 34-metre shed. It's just like it has that impact on people. The other thing, though, that... and look, they could build the biggest...
about to break my breaking at 8.
They could build the biggest bloody tower. I mean, they could make it 68 stories. I don't care.
Yeah.
Trash it, because it will trash it. I don't care. If I had my way, the city baths would still be there.
How good would that be?
That'd be great, the city baths. Where they're all cement. I'll never forget, I jumped off the high board there and didn't keep my legs. I was a little kid and didn't keep my legs together.
Did you swim there, Matt?
That's how old I am. That's how old I am.
So where were they?
They were where the Festival Theatre is.
So it was Torrens Water?
No, I think it was... Well, I hope not. I hope not. Anyway, I didn't keep my legs together, which is a lesson I learnt as I spent the next week in the fetal position. But get this though. Get this. So I'm reading this press release going, Nick Champion, Peter Malnaus, new tower to transform Festival Plaza. Two things really got my goat. One is that the Premier says this is a sign that we're growing up. Adelaide's growing up. I'm thinking, what? What? The first state in the world to deliver universal suffrage, give women the right to vote. The state that gave the world, the atomic bomb. The state has the best festival in the world.
Yeah, but Matt, none of those things are a 149 metre high building, are they? What we need a building, do we, to show ourselves that we're growing up. Isn't that a case where the headline of the press release should never have gotten carried into the rhetoric around what was being announced? Like it's a clever growing up. It's like a clever headline that never should have been uttered as a part of the spin on it.
Exactly, like growing up. Okay, so something. I know we're growing up. We're getting a higher building. No, it sounds like we need to grow up as a state. But get this though. Now this really got me. The proposal, because one of the problems with the 3-storey building was it would block the view from the Parliament House balcony, the little balcony there on Parliament House, down to the Festival Plaza and down to the Festival Theatre and the river,
where the billiard tables used to be.
Yeah.
Looking out the back.
Yeah. The proposal, I'll read this as though it's a premier. The proposal delivers an improved heritage outcome. And I thought, well, that's good. So you're going to put up a 38-storey building, but somehow you're going to improve the heritage of the area. With a grand glass foyer offering continuous sight lines between Parliament House and Festival Plaza and improved public spaces. The previously approved 3-storey option would have obscured views of Parliament's heritage facade and balcony entirely. Now just think about this. Just stop, okay? You're going to have a glass foyer, and it's going to be an improved heritage outcome because you're going to be able to stand on the balcony, the 4 drunk politicians who get out there after, because they took the billiard table away, and you're going to be able to look through this glass foyer down to the river. And I'm thinking, are you kidding? Like, I actually happened to be talking to an architect last night, and he said, well, glass reflects. Like glass now in modern buildings needs to be about 6 inches thick. So you're going to have this glass, and apparently, you're going to have any concrete pillars holding the rest of the building up? Because if you've got a glass foyer, I assume you're going to have some sort of structure in there holding up the other 37 stories. Or am I wrong there? Or is it maybe is it something?
Your friend would know better than us.
Yeah, he does.
So what do you make of the theory, Matt? I've heard this from a couple of good sources now. And casting my mind back to the announcement, there was some reference to a certain number of floors being set aside for civic space.
Yes.
Civic. Now, what does civic mean? Well, part of the scuttlebutt / rumour doing the rounds, currently the ministerial offices, most of the ministerial offices are housed in the State Administration Centre building in Victoria Square.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently part of the reason the government is so keen for this project to go ahead is that they'd like to move the ministerial offices in there. Because at the moment, they're running back and forth
to State Admin.
From North Terrace to the State Admin building, which is that old modernist building in Victoria Square.
The drivers are taking them back and forth. But yes, go on.
Or they're catching Ubers.
Well, Mally's probably running. He's probably running.
Yeah, he does it. I think his PB's 14.2 seconds. But the apparently the plan long term is to get rid of the State Administration Centre building, sell it, knock it down, put something new up there, whatever, and they'll recoup all the money from that.
That's a good
then
story.
The ministerial... That was going to be breaking at 8 this morning.
Well, now
I'm sorry to wreck that, but
we're going to need to find another one.
A couple of years ago, and it's only a few years ago, Rob Lucas, as Treasurer, tried to sell the State Admin building and couldn't do it.
No one wanted it.
Yeah, tried to sell. He tried to sell the State Admin building. I don't think.
But surely the land alone would be worth so much, and you could put like some vast tower up there.
Adelaide's got. Let's look about 20% CBD office vacancy rate at the moment. No one wants to go to work.
That's the thing. I'm interested in the economics of putting up a building.
When I say no one wants to go to work, I mean, why would you want to go to work when you can work from home, put a load of laundry on, have your headphones on, and do a meeting over the phone?
But what about for living in the city, though? Because I mean,
it's not going to be residential, is it?
Who
Not
knows?
this one, but you're saying the state admin potentially.
Oh, yeah. The state admin
Yeah.
could be.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's good enough for the Crown and Anchor to have a giant office, residential tower put on top of it, why not the state admin building?
One of the you could probably get the Premier's suite in the state admin building. That'd be nice. I think it's on the 11th. As
Put a radio station up there, you reckon?
Well, why not? As a state broadcast, as a as a homeowner, like you buy that apartment.
The Premier's suite.
Because apparently, when Des Corcoran took over from Don Dunstan as Labor Premier, so the short-lived Des Corcoran sort of period as Premier, he went into the Premier's office for the first time, and it's got an ensuite bathroom type thing, and went in there, and there was makeup in there. And, for TV, I assume, Don Dunstan's makeup.
Of course.
And Des like, what's this makeup stuff? I don't want out of there. And a few other things. He said that would probably get you banned for 3 matches if you were a footy player. But, okay, so this is going to, this 29-storey, one festival tower, oh no, that's next door to it, this 38-storey tower, 36 floors of commercial office space. Well, that would take almost the entire public service. They'll all just move in there. So one of the things that happens, and I don't know if this is planned by the state government, but what you are doing, and maybe this is a good thing, is shifting the centre of the CBD, the Adelaide CBD, sliding it down towards the Torrens. Because you've got that. And this will accelerate that, I would think. So they say there's 9,500 workers. It will draw a further 9,500 workers to the Riverbank precinct, to this building. So it's 9,500 workers. Well, that's probably going to be about... And this thing hasn't even, gone beyond much more than a very expensive thought bubble at this stage. I'd say it's going to be about 8,500 public servants.
Moving down there.
Well, you're going to have, yes, you're going to have this building, okay. So you're going to have 9,500 workers there who aren't just going, these aren't going to be 9,500 new workers. These are going to be 9,500 workers, maybe there'll be a few new ones, but there's going to be 9,500 workers who currently occupy space in the CBD. And then are you going to have an even greater increased vacancy rate in the CBD? I don't know. Maybe this is small thinking. Maybe you do have to think big. But when the government says, this is part of, this is exciting, and the company have said this, Lang Walker's vision for the Festival Plaza area, and I'm thinking, well, A, he's dead, but secondly, look, why does a private developer have a vision for our public spaces? Well, I would have thought this is what a government would have a vision for. And if the government's vision is for a 38-storey building, well, that's fine. With a glass foyer that you can magically see through from one side to the other. But anyway, I'm sorry, it is a bugbear of mine.
Yeah, no,
it is a bugbear.
We love your bugbear.
And I'm sorry I've ruined your breaking your date.
I'm glad the Parliament House balcony's got a mention.
Yeah.
We had one night up there that was an entire swim through for the purpose of whining and dining an FM breakfast show that's not here anymore. It's the only time I've ever been out on that balcony. And to think you couldn't do that with a nice view. I mean, I don't know how the wheels of government in this state will continue to operate.
Exactly.
It used to have, from memory, 6 full-size snooker tables. You could have.
I do remember
at a tournament.
You could have filmed an episode of Pot Black in there with Hurricane Higgins and Ray Reardon. Hurricane Higgins.
The ghost of Walter Lindrum walk the corridors.
Eddie Charlton doing his trick shots.
It will look. I was driving by it last night, as luck would have it, and you look at it and think, well, look. That's fine. You put a 38-storey building there. Don't pretend it's going to enhance the heritage outcome of the area, because it won't. It will trash that. And like Festival Plaza, I think is god awful space, windblown, sort of deserted sort of space anyway.
It's never really worked as a public space.
No.
That's where I can't understand getting too misty-eyed about it, because it's not like. Have you ever said, what's it called, Hayek Plaza? Was that his name?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have you ever said, I'll meet you at Hayek Plaza?
No, it's not a thing that happens.
No.
But do you know that weird...
Not like the balls or the pigs.
Do you know that weird sort of sculpture thing in front of what was the Hyatt there, down around on the other side of the railway station? Okay, there's this weird like shapes there. Well, when that was announced, John Bannon, who was Premier at the time, said, this is going to be a place where people will come and exchange ideas. They'll sit there,
Well, like the MFP.
Well, and like it's never been that.
No.
People might sit there having a sausage roll or, trying to get their skateboard to sort of go up the ramp or something like that. But
where do people go in Adelaide to exchange ideas?
I don't know.
What a wonderful concept. Just knock around a few thoughts about the future.
Exactly. Just sort of like anyway. So we do have a bit of a history, and this goes from really John Bannon, John Olsen, Dean Brown not so much, but John Bannon, John Olsen, Jay Weatherall not so much, but now Peter Malinauskas, of being in love with developers. And I don't see why necessarily, I mean, I know we have to be a pro-business state and, business creates jobs, but I don't see why it's the job of premiers, elected premiers, to be real estate developers. There's everybody who's got a cement mixer, a couple of shovels and a bag of cement sort of get given public space in South Australia to build buildings on. I don't know.
All right, let's check traffic.
Boy, I feel a lot better now.
No, that's good. We might give you a Kerolite Smart Dial. That sounds like the sound off. We might just check traffic and come back with more from Matt Abraham in just a moment. Thanks to Luva House, the leaders in turning your outdoor space into a great entertainment area with an opening and closing roof.
Thanks, Will. At Glen Osmond, a truck breakdown, Portrush Road near Woodley Road causing delays at the moment. At Clovelly Park, road plates in use after a burst water main repair on South Road at Dawes Road, speeds at 40. And at Dry Creek, urgent works with road plates in use on Churchill Road near Cormac Road, speeds reduced there too. You find the ever-pesky camera this morning, Murray Street, Tanunda and Old Port Road at Royal Park. Chemist Warehouse are committed to supporting communities with their healthcare needs. So protect yourself and those around you this flu season and book your flu shot at Chemist Warehouse today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Thinking about a solar battery? Don't wait. Connect with NRG Solar and bring home a solar battery with a rock-solid 10-year warranty. Use the energy you generate during the day. Store some for later, reducing reliance on energy providers and putting money back in your pocket. See NRG Solar in their new premises at St Mary's. Bigger place, better space, some amazing people. Visit NRG Solar now at 1275 South Road or call 1300 858 160.
Ignition for Men, Adelaide's home of luxury menswear, offer an impeccable range of suits by leading Italian brands, including the unparalleled quality and style of Armani, Canali, Zegna, and more. Ignition for Men. What you wear speaks volumes about who you are and where you're going in the world. Make your mark with Ignition for Men. 54 Paynham Road, Stepney. Ignition for Men. ignitionformen.com.au.
If you need to fix your pipes, call Precise. Call Precise. If your toilet's blocking up, call Precise. Call Precise. If your lights aren't turning on, or your hot water is gone, or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Precise.
Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Call 1300 700 200. That's 1300 700 200. Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Local and experienced trade specialists.
Or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Call Precise.
City Discount Tires.
Get saving this month at City Discount Tires. When you buy 3 Falcon CT60 tyres, you'll get the 4th tyre free. The perfect tyre for crossovers such as Honda CR-V and Toyota RAV4. City Discount Tires are a proud multi-tyre and wheel brand retailer offering great service at great prices. Visit citydiscounttires.com.au to find your nearest store. City Discount Tires. We're driven by value.
City Discount Tires.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base. Search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
7 minutes to 8. Matt Abraham in the 5AA Breakfast studio with us. A few thoughts coming through on the Duttons text line about the proposed development in the city. Tony on...
They're all opposed to me, are they?
No. Tony was sort of putting people more musing around development priorities and difficulties in Adelaide.
So
Tony,
this is where you come to have an exchange of ideas.
5AA. I think you're absolutely right.
If you don't know where Hayek Plaza is.
Sorry, go on.
Tony says we can't put a few netties in the parklands for the police, but we can build these 2 massive towers behind Parliament House. You
could put horses in the
maybe that's the civic
foyer.
space. The civic space could be the staging area.
The stables.
You just have to share a lift with a horse occasionally. I think we might have solved it.
Like that horse that got out in the railway station.
The Premier said to me during the ad break, one of the key conditions in the negotiations with Walker was that there are zero pre-commitments from the state government to get the tower off the ground, particularly from ministerial officers.
Yes, pre-commitment.
So nothing signed.
What does that mean? That doesn't mean
nothing stipulated up front.
No, wait till it's...
But if you've suddenly got like all these vacant floors, and it's like, hang on, we can walk down the road from Victoria Square.
We get a good deal.
Yeah. I like the idea of Victoria Square being turned into a sort of food and lifestyle centre. Seriously, well, makes sense. Perfect fit with the market, with the new market building. Yeah, you can grow vegetables there. It'd be good. Bring in some of those kale seedlings I was telling Will about earlier.
Have an allotment.
Yeah, why not?
Like a Bruegel painting.
We don't usually do pre-spin analysis, but the Prime Minister was kind enough to publish his speech that he's making today.
Yes, I sort of wish he hadn't, but anyway,
just around every publication in town. So he clearly wants people to talk about it. Are you excited about Australia's bold new manufacturing future?
Well, I don't. I listened to the grab you played from him. It was on Sunrise this morning, and I don't understand what he's talking about. So. I'll have to.
I see that too.
Yes, I know you did. I really don't.
Yeah.
Is this his lot 14?
Yeah, a big lot 14.
You know, like green hydrogen. I don't know. We'll have to. I don't know.
There's these wonderful.
Although, hang on, lot
I
14...
hope it's got a bit more detail than what we've heard.
I can't believe
maybe
he didn't
it's
drop
his new Tonsley precinct, because if you go to the Tonsley precinct, there is really good stuff happening there. It's not facades sort of propped up by the taxpayers think bubble nonsense. There's good stuff happening there. So
it's disappointing he didn't drop in one of the buzzwords of the day, which he might today still, but AI didn't get a run.
No, AI didn't get a run.
Which I assume that feels like a missed opportunity. Like it used to be the blockchain. Remember the blockchain? Everything was going to be the blockchain.
Yeah, Steve Marshall in Lot 14.
Yes, he loved the blockchain.
Yeah, that's dropped off.
No, now it's all about AI. Everything's AI. Hopefully we get a bit of that.
I find that very frustrating. Before you even get to understand what one concept is, we've moved on to another one.
Yeah, hydrogen's starting to feel like that for me too.
It is.
Just throw it in there.
Yeah, green hydrogen.
The developments. Okay. Sounds exciting. What is...
You'll get another text from the Premier if we keep this up.
Let's talk about the spin of the week.
5 out of 10.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Anyway, watch this space.
Oh, no. Now, as we know, well, you may not know, but in Tasmania there's been a state election because the Liberal Premier wanted to have stability there, and he says he's going to now govern. He's formed a minority government. So he'll govern for the 62% of Tasmanians who didn't vote for the Liberal Party down there. But 3 of them will be the Jackie Lambie network, otherwise now known as the Little Lammies. And funnily enough, there's some Little Lambies in the Senate. One little Lambie has left the Lambie network, and that is Tammy Tyrrell. She's now an independent, and she's explaining. She's tried to. No one really understands why she's left the Little Lammies. But this is an interview she's done on ABC Tasmania, which I think's meant to help.
When you're in a marriage where somebody's already left, you don't want to be in there just for for looks. You actually want to break out, do the right thing by the family in general, which Tasmania is my family. So stepping aside and letting the network shine in its own right and me in my own right felt like it could be the right thing to do. I hope it's the right thing to do.
I'll just try and unpick what you just said for a moment. You were in a marriage where the other person had already left.
Yeah. Look, when you're doing all that you can and you are being yourself and you are putting 125% into doing the right thing, sometimes you just need to step aside and go it on your own.
I don't know. It's all clear to me now. But
wow.
Irreconcilable differences.
Can you leave a marriage when the other person's already left? I suppose technically you can.
Do you know what?
Okay. I'm leaving too.
I do. Yeah, I'll show you.
Yeah, you might have moved out 3 years ago.
I've only just noticed.
That's right.
So long, sucker.
I've been wondering where dinner was. It was a strange analogy, wasn't it?
It was. I don't know. 7 out of 10?
Yeah, why not?
Why not? 7 out of 10.
I like that she gave 125% as well, because 110% now is a bit tired. Everyone's giving 110%.
Yeah, that's
now it's 125%.
110 is the new green hydrogen.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Matt Abraham, thanks to the great people at Mitre 10, your local Mitre 10, friendly service, expert advice, quality brands at great prices. Mighty helpful Mitre 10. We've got a breaking date coming up after 8 o'clock.
It's going to involve the Premier who's been listening.
Okay.
We're going to have a conversation about the Lang Walker Tower.
Oh, are we?
Yeah. We're
Okay.
gonna put the theory to him.
All right. That's
So
coming up.
We cut our own grass with Matt's segment, so now we're going to see if this could be the new State Admin Centre.
Live breaking at 8 coming up on 5AA Breakfast next. Also, the sound off of the smart dialer. If you've got something you like to get off your chest, you like to sound off, maybe it's architecture in the city, could be absolutely anything you like. 8223 0000 is the number. Get calling now.
Still thinking about a sea change? Think Oakford Homes in Counter Bay. New stage released and selling fast. A variety of block sizes available in a friendly community with brand new low maintenance homes plus the beach close by. Affordable packages, no surprises. Move in now or invest for the future. Fixed price turnkey packages, flat land ready to build. Don't miss out. New stage now released. Visit our display village at Encounter Bay. Oakford Homes, a statement of quality. oakfordhomes.com.au.
Electricity bill!
Bills shouldn't be scary. EcoVantage have supplied energy efficiency in homes for over 15 years. They can install hot water systems that use up to 80% less electricity than regular hot water systems. Help the environment while you save hundreds. And thanks to federal and SA government incentives, you could get your energy efficient hot water system supplied and installed for as little as no cost to you. Stop scary hot water bills with ecovantage.com.au.
The latest local, national and international news for South Australia. This is 5AA News, always Adelaide.
Partly cloudy and 22 today with the 8 o'clock news. Good morning. I'm Graham Goodings.
Injured or living with chronic pain? Book an appointment at Physio Extra today. 6 locations. physioextra.com.
It'll be all quiet on the rail lines today. Train drivers are stopping work for 4 hours from 10 a.m. The industrial action could impact services as early as 9 and up until 3 p.m. The union's Hayden Boyle says they're locked in a long-running pay dispute.
Yellowstone are the operator refusing to budge on their wage offer. They're currently offering 14.7% increase over 4 years, which works out roughly to be around the 3.5% per year. We're seeking 5% per year.
Commuters are being advised to use alternative public transport like buses and trams. Meantime, opposition transport spokesman Vincent Tarzia says it's time the government stepped in to settle the dispute. 3 adult sons of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh have been killed in an airstrike in Gaza. Israel says they were military operatives on their way to carry out terrorist activities. But Mr. Haniyeh, who's based in Qatar, says they were on their way to visit relatives. He says the deaths will not affect the terror organisation's demands in ceasefire negotiations. Gatherround has kicked another goal with more than 9,000 free heart and diabetes checks conducted during AFL's Festival of Football. Health Minister Chris Picton says the primary goal of the screening initiative was to improve health outcomes and reduce the incidence of cardiovascular disease and type 2 diabetes through earlier treatment and lifestyle changes.
We had a real success out of the health checks that we've done together with the Shane Warne Legacy Foundation through the course of Gatherround. This is something that the state government wanted to bring to South Australia as part of Gatherround to help people who wouldn't otherwise be getting their health checks and their heart checks done.
A man's been arrested after climbing onto a balcony at Glenelg South overnight. About 3:30 a.m, the occupant of a second-floor unit on South Esplanade reported seeing someone outside. The suspect then jumped onto the street below and ran off. He was caught a short distance away by police dog Chaos. The 33-year-old man from Plimpton's been charged with being unlawfully on premises. He'll face court in July. Economists predict the cost of rentals will start to plateau in coming months as the affordability ceiling is reached. House rents costs have reached a record high in capital cities, sitting at an average of $630 per week. Domain's Dr. Nicola Powell says it's the biggest quarterly increase in 17 years, but we should see the pendulum shift later this year.
What our expectation is at some point this year, we will start to see that vacancy rate edge higher. We've got to think that population growth is likely to have peaked. And we've also got first-home buyer incentives coming into place. So Help to Buy is meant to come into place next financial year.
The Prime Minister will announce new legislation designed to boost high-tech manufacturing in Australia. Anthony Albanese will use a key speech in Brisbane to outline the future Made in Australia Act. Similar legislation already exists in the US, Europe, Japan and Canada. The federal government believes the measure will help future-proof the Australian economy. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Colours, custom design, any house, any style. Gliderol Garage Doors. Gliderol.com.au.
And here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Graham. Adelaide has missed out on securing the signature of exciting Sydney midfielder Errol Goulden. The 21-year-old was set to be one of the most sought-after players in the competition, with his contract set to expire at the end of the season. And it's understood the Crows were the club who offered him a 10-year deal to come to Westlakes. But he turned it down, instead signing a 4-year extension with the Swans. And he told Fox Footy he's more than comfortable with that time frame.
You know, at the end of the day, I think 4 years was the right option for me and for the club as well. It gives them a bit of security over the next kind of 4 years, but you know, also allows me to focus on my footy and not have to worry about what the future holds for the time being, while also I think, you know, leaving a bit up to me that I do have to perform as well.
The teams for Port Adelaide and Fremantle will be released tonight, with a power set to replace Jeremy Finlayson, who's been suspended by the AFL for the next 3 weeks, while Sam Powell-Pepper and Ollie Wines are both a big chance to come back in. The Crows will also name their side to take on Carlton, while round 5 gets underway tonight, with Melbourne hosting Brisbane at the MCG. Let's get to soccer, and Barcelona has taken a big step towards the semi-finals of the European Champions League. That's following a 3-2 win against Paris Saint-Germain in the first leg of their quarter-final tie, while Atletico Madrid beat Borussia Dortmund 2-1. Alexei Poprin has secured a brilliant straight sets win against Andrei Rublev to advance to the round of 16 at the Monte Carlo Masters, while Alex de Minaur also advanced. In cricket, Rashid Khan has put in a man-of-the-match performance to help his Gujarat Titans to a thrilling last-ball win against the Rajasthan Royals in the IPL. And world number 1 golfer Scotty Scheffler could withdraw from the Masters if his wife goes into labour. The major tournament begins at Augusta National tonight. And that's the 5AA Sport.
And now checking 5AA traffic.
Lynn Andrews Real Estate, experts in commercial and residential property management. lynnandrews.com.au.
Morning there. Look out for road plates in use this morning at Dry Creek, Churchill Road near Cormac Road, causing a few delays. Also road plates in use at Door Park this morning, smack bang near the intersection of South Road and Dawes Road, speeds at 40, so she's pretty sluggish there, as you'd expect, and getting busy Brighton Road, Brighton. You find cameras this morning, Eastern Parade, Ottaway, and Frederick Road at Seaton. It's the 40 Winks 40-hour sale. Get up to 50% off store-wide when you shop online or in store. But hurry, sale ends Sunday at 40 Winks. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now let's look at the 5AA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your Automaster's technician.
Partly cloudy and 22 today, tomorrow partly cloudy 21, Saturday partly cloudy 22, Sunday also partly cloudy and 22. Right now in town it's 15. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Oh, slow down. You in some kind of hurry?
Yep, I felt like life was getting away from me. These new shoes are letting me catch up again. I just feel like I've got more energy.
Well, they're worth it. Where'd you get them?
At Gilmore's. They even measured my feet like when we were kids.
I used to love that. Extra energy, hey?
Ross loves it. He's heading to Gilmore's this afternoon.
Maybe I should join him.
How about you take your own husband instead?
Oh, haha.
Gilmore's Comfort Shoes, South Road, Melrose Park, opposite Castle Plaza.
Now, you all know I love my local Mitre 10, or as those in the know like to call it, the other hardware store. It's my one-stop shop for all my DIY jobs. Well, that's not quite true. It's more my one-stop shop for all my gardening jobs, be it tools or fertiliser or seedlings. They'll have everything you need, and if you are genuinely handy, they've got other stuff, tools, you name it. The staff are great. They'll happily give you advice on the best products to help you get all those jobs done.
So if you're planning some home improvements, or you've got some fix-it jobs to do, or maybe you just want to spruce things up a bit around the home or in the garden, simply head into your local Mighty Helpful Mitre 10.
For great prices on the right products for the job, along with helpful advice, choose the other hardware store, Mighty Helpful Mitre 10.
Streaming live via the 5AA Player app on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. This is 5AA, always Adelaide.
Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base, search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
8 minutes after 8. David Kosh is going to join us after 8:30. We'll talk the Finlayson band with Kosh. You might also ask him about the Prime Minister's speech coming up today, outlining a Australian-made manufacturing future for this country. That's ahead. Josh Rochelle from the Adelaide Football Club. We'll talk to him about the Crows' woes 4 rounds in at about 8:20, and the sound off of the smart dialer is not too far away. But first, a breaking at 8 that comes to us. Well, you heard it all unfold live. We were just chatting with Matt Abraham in Spin of the Week. The Premier got involved in the chat, and it's become breaking at 8.
Hey, Premier, thanks so much for joining us this morning. As you heard, we were just talking to Matt Abraham about the new Langwalker Tower, the 38-storey building that's going up down near the back of Parliament House. Now, I don't know if this talk around town has got any legs or not, but it has sparked some speculation that it could present an opportunity to move government or ministerial offices out of the state admin centre and down to North Terrace, where it would make sense having them right next to Parliament. Does this theory have any legs, or are people putting 2 and 2 together and getting 5?
I think it's the latter, Pembo. There is literally, in fact, this was a key element of the negotiations with Walker Corp, because, to be plain about it, we anticipated this question. We made clear that throughout all the negotiations, to get to the point we are now at, there are zero pre-commitments from government whatsoever to get that building off of the ground. When I say government, state government. I think federal government has taken out some floors in the first festival tower, that's already there, but there is no state government occupancy of that building, and there is no plans and no pre-commitments for the same in regards to the second tower. What happens with government office accommodation is that there is a unit that sits within the Department of Transport and Infrastructure. It works closely with the Department of Treasury and Finance, and when government offices come up, government leases come up, they go out to the market and try and get the best deal possible. So I think most recently we've seen the SA Health building, which is currently located on Pulteney Street. That's been out to the market in an open process, and then that gets assessed on cost and all the other variables.
But is there a difference between... I'm not trying to be smart here, because I actually think it would probably make more sense to have the ministerial offices down there rather than in this sort of very dated late 60s building that you currently have to occupy. Is there a difference between a pre-commitment and the fact that when the building is done and then they're leasing floors, there's nothing preventing the government, a government, not even necessarily your government, down the track from going, wouldn't it make sense for us to move in here?
Well, while there's nothing precluding that, there is no plans to do that. In fact, but in terms of the pre-commitment matters, because this building now has to go through a range of processes, but Walker will need to get a certain level of pre-commitment before they'll build the building. And what they've been able to do with Festival Tower is get most of that pre-commitment done prior to the construction of the first tower. So all office accommodation has a level of pre-commitment before they'll start constructing it, because they've got to de-risk their position, particularly when we're talking about a capital investment from Walker Corporation. That's $600 million, or at least $600 million to build this tower. But can I just say this, Pembo? When we were looking at all these options within Cabinet, and this has been going on now for close on 18 months, it was clear to me that there was going to be a degree of opposition to it. But our view that we've formed as a government is, if we've got a choice between a plaza that works with people in it versus one that's a barren wasteland, which is what was the case before the first Festival Tower, we choose activity. I don't think the state's got anything to fear from our city growing upwards. And people will say, this is parkland, which is complete nonsense. Prior to the first
we won't say that.
Tower, but prior to the first Festival Tower, it was Hayek Plaza. Do you remember? It was filthy. It was
dumb.
If there was anyone down there, it was a couple of skateboarders or graffiti artists. Now we've got the prospect of something that might actually work, and a tower that actually improves the cityscape and the skyline. Like, I was down there the other morning on the riverbank. If you look at the riverbank, if you're on the riverbank and you look upwards, and I hope this isn't, I don't imagine this will be particularly appreciated from what I'm about to say, but the Stanford Plaza facade looks like it's something, that's from another era, and isn't particularly aesthetically pleasing, to put it mildly. So now we have the prospect of that view that people will get when they fly in on the plane and they look out to something that is spectacular and befits the city that we are. Beautiful, coming of age, with a lot of progress in front of it. And I think that's something we should embrace, not resist.
Premier, what's your favourite Villiers pie? Because Bet Abraham says if no public servants occupy the building, he'll buy you lunch at Cafe de Villiers, Mile End.
Well, I reckon, look, I could be wrong. And in fact, it's probably guaranteed that I am wrong. But I reckon people like Matt Abraham were saying the exact same thing about the Perth Festival Tower, which means we must have a pizza or a pie coming someone's way. For the record, it's just the plain one. I've experimented with goulash and everything else.
Okay.
I just like the plain.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Good stuff.
Matt's taking notes. Thank you, Premier.
Thanks for that. Peter Malinowski's joining us for Breaking at 8. It's a good bet. We've got it written down. It's in the
Exactly right. Plain pie, Cafe de Villiers, Mile End. Good spot. 14 after 8. We're going to check traffic in a moment, but what we will do first is our sound off for the Care Alert Smart Dialer.
Sound off, sound off, sound off, sound off. Haters count 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Eeny, meeny, miny,
Care Alert GPS, the ultimate emergency alert system for falls and illnesses. Wherever you are, carealert.com.au. Guy in Glenelg North was the first to call in to sound off on a topic of his choosing. Guy, the airwaves are all yours.
Hi, lads, and Lucy. Just getting a little bit frustrated ringing some of our larger organisations when you're first faced with having to choose from one of 35 different options for the one that best suits your inquiry. Only realising by the time you get to number 9, none of them are going to agree, but you're forced to listen to them all anyway. You get to the end, you have to press 9 to listen to them all again. Next comes, this call will be used for quality and coaching. Mate, if you reckon this can be used for anything, go your hardest. In fact, send it to me, I'll download it, buy 1,000 CDs, burn them, personally sign them, stick them on eBay and sell them. When Angry from Manchester rings up, I'll personally hand deliver it to him. Next, you're not the primary account holder. Of course I would not be. Who would that be? Can't say. Probably my wife. I'll hand the phone over. At that point, I could hand it over to Hans, who's just popped in from a fringe show, to have a bit of a coffee with us, because they tell her name. Is this you? Yes. Do you agree with this person to answer on your behalf? Yes. That's it. Good. We're getting somewhere. Now, sir, we just need to identify you. Why me? Didn't have to identify my wife, but that's fine. You've got a particular question. Oh, that'll be the question I set up 20 years ago. Seemed like a good one at the time. But how am I now meant to remember the middle name of my first girlfriend's pet guinea pig? Seriously. I've moved on and got married since then. Then you get put on hold. You're in the wrong department and you hang up in frustration with just enough time to finish planning your 100th birthday party.
That was one of the great sound-offs, not just in the history of this segment, but of all time. Guy,
that was unreal.
I salute you. I applaud you. I was recently go through the same process, trying to get a credit card approved in this last week. It is a nightmare. It is a nightmare. Guy, you've got a Care Alert Smart Dialer coming your way. On the occasion, it sounds like, of your 100th birthday. So
Guy mentioned fringe shows. That could be a fringe show. That sound-off could be the start of a fringe show.
Oh, that was superb.
Trapped on hold with Guy from Glenelg North.
Guy, you've made our day, and I reckon a lot of people listening too. Use your home care package through My Aged Care or NDIS for a Care Alert for free. Simply visit carealert.com.au.
That was brilliant. What was that sketch in The Simpsons when they rang that police assistance line and all the different numbers that you had to press?
No, I don't remember that one.
You've pressed 9. The crime you've selected is regicide. I rang the ATO a few weeks ago about something, and I had a message telling me not to ring them.
Oh.
They said, you do this online. I'm like, why have you got the number listed then? Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's great.
Good stuff.
All right. We're going to check traffic. Josh Rochelle is going to join us on 5AA Breakfast in just a moment. We'll talk footy. Koshy not too far away. Lots of Dutton's texts coming through as well. Dutton's Mitsubishi, the new gen Triton has landed. Book your test drive today. Dutton's easy to do business with. And a reminder, you can text us or call us on any topic you like. Love chatting with you. And we'll get to some more of your interactions in just a moment. Traffic first? No?
Extinction Rebellion are currently at the Adelaide Oval. Not sure what they're doing down there. What's the Adelaide Oval ever done to hurt the environment? I suppose it's a gigantic thing made out of concrete.
There's a suggestion that the Santos AGM might be on there.
Ah, those people keeping us all with the power on.
Yeah.
Funny, isn't it? How do they manage to use their laptops and all that? The people at Extinction Rebellion.
Yeah.
Anyway, keep your eyes peeled if you're on War Memorial Drive.
Well, we'll find
buttocks and equity coming into contact.
But what we find out routinely about these people is they're the greatest hypocrites on planet Earth, whether they're flying private jet as members of the Greens Party to make sure they're protesting about the planet, or appearing in ads for I'm
an Australian like Ampol.
Yeah, for Ampol. I mean, these people are all frauds. They're absolute
I did love that
frauds.
quote from the abseiling Nene, whatever her name was, down there in the People's Republic of Wollonga.
Yeah.
When she was defending her appearance in the petrol ad, she said, well, we've all got to get from A to B somehow.
Yeah.
Well, touche.
Yeah, correct.
That's our point.
All right, well, good luck to them. 19 after 8, let's check traffic. Louver House, the leaders in turning your outdoor space into a great entertainment area with an opening and closing roof.
G'day there at Wingfield, a breakdown on the north-south motorway near Rosberg Road. At Clovelly Park, road plate to New South Reverse Water Main, South Road at Dawes Road, splits at 40. Dry Creek, Urger Works with road plate to Newson Churchill Road near Cormac Road, speeds reduced there as well. I'm getting busy, Anzac Highway heading into the city at Ashford there. Cameras, Murray Street to Nunda and Port Road at Queenstown. Craving a sweet treat? Head to Oporto and try out the new cookies and cream mousse for just $4.95. Limited time only and only at Oporto. Oh yeah, Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA Sports Show. Stephen Rowe and Tim Jennifer.
Crows have a 9-day break into the Carlton game this Saturday at Marvel Stadium. Plenty of time to work on what they're calling midfield forward connection or transition. It's talent. Don't go telling me it's system, method, connection and shape. If I hear the word shape, I'll spew up.
The 5AA Sports Show.
It's your midfield. It's your talent in the midfield.
Better get a spew back.
Weekdays from 4 p.m. on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Remember when milk came in bottles? I mean real glass bottles. It somehow tasted better, and it was better for the planet. That's why the FIVEAA Milk Company have brought it back. Milk in a glass bottle. Thanks to you, the reduction in single-use plastic bottles is already proving phenomenal, and the numbers continue to grow. Join the fight to reduce plastic single-use bottles and look for milk refill stations in your supermarket. Visit fluoriomilkco.com.au for more.
Join over 60,000 Adelaide homes and say yes to lowering your energy bills with Yes, your energy saving solutions. Yes offers a range of money-saving solutions to upgrade your home and downgrade your energy bills. With subsidies on ceiling insulation, air conditioning, hot water services and LED lighting installations, rebates on new appliances and incentives for recycling your old fridges, it's easy to say yes to Yes. Find out more about your energy saving solutions. Go to yess.net.au.
For over 3 decades, Regent Homes has been synonymous with crafting architecturally bespoke homes, each one a testament to Regent Homes' unwavering commitment to design, quality and sophistication. And because Regent Homes is a South Australian family-owned company, they understand more than anyone what it takes to build a family home. Experience Regent Homes' award-winning display homes at Lightsview and Blackwood Park. Innovative design, elevated living. Visit regenthomes.com.au.
When you think of single malt Scotch whisky, you might imagine Scotland's green hills, her fresh babbling brooks, and rows of oak barrels. But you can get the same feeling right here in Adelaide when you walk down the aisles at Powell's. Sam and Jamie from Parafield Airport Liquor Store know every drop on the shelf. They can guide you through Scotland's best whisky labels and the best from around the globe, all under one roof. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Powell's, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base, search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
A lot of love coming through for Guy's sound off a moment ago on the Dutton's text line. Helen says, fantastic Guy. Someone else said, boys, that was bloody hilarious. Josh in Shido Park says, well done Guy for his sound off. Best one I've heard. Literally clapping as I wait in traffic on my way to work. Guy, you've started a revolution. Well done.
Superb.
He's class personified.
Yay! Josh Rochelle in the 5AA Breakfast Studio. I mean, just how he imagined it, I'm sure, growing up, spending his 21st birthday with us on 5AA Breakfast. Happy birthday to you, mate.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Now, Josh, I've been told to ask you something or say something to you, which namely is great to see you got here on time.
Inside joke, who I'd love to hear that from.
That was actually your girlfriend by Chris Jarman. I understand you had your 21st last weekend and you got there eventually.
Yeah, an hour and 40 minutes late to my own 21st.
What hour? That late? An hour 40?
Everyone was already there. A lot of my friends who had done previous things before that day was there already, and the look my parents gave me when I got there, looks could kill.
Had the party started a little bit before the party? Is that sort of what distracted you, or was it just hard to get the hair done?
Bit of both. No, we had some fun beforehand, and then I had about 5 mates staying at my house, and there was stuff everywhere. And one of my mates couldn't find his phone for about an hour, so and my mates were running upstairs calling his phone, and it was on silent or it died
for an hour.
And we're running up and downstairs trying to go everywhere, and we ended up finding it was just in his backpack like the whole time. And then I had to quickly get the quickest Uber there.
Oh no!
Yeah, it was bad. It was very bad.
Well, there you go. There you go.
Nice. You had a good night in the end, though, once you got there.
I had a great night. Yeah. A lot of the team come, so I put an open invite to the team, and a lot of friends and family come over from Shepparton and Melbourne. So,
how cool!
Yeah, it was probably close to nearly 100 people that were there. So it was a great night.
Well, congratulations to you, mate. So 20. Do you feel old today then?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, but I still feel like an 18-year-old too.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Try to hold that feeling for your entire life would be my advice, mate.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, footy, unfortunately, not as fun as the birthday. 0-4, it was a little bit better. What was the feeling internally? Because I've seen Nixie in the press conference yesterday said, we actually liked a bit of what happened in the game against a quality opponent. What was your assessment?
Yeah, it was definitely a step in the right direction from the previous 3 games. It felt like our game plan were back. Our structure ahead of the ball was definitely a lot better from previous weeks, but still the rooms for improvement was our connection going inside 50, being clinical when we've got the ball, and just taking the ball off the line and being creative from half back. There's still a few things we need to work on, but as I said, it was a lot better from the previous games, and we took it to Melbourne for a bit.
Hey, how are you feeling about your role at the moment? Because a lot of Crows fans are saying it is madness that Josh Rochelle has had 2 centre bounce attendances this year and want to see you playing a bit more in the middle. How are you feeling? Are you frustrated?
No, not frustrated at all. I was playing a bit of a different role last week, which I hadn't played the first 3 weeks, which for the team it helped a lot, even though you don't get rewarded a lot. It was good to see some reward in the last quarter, pushing forward a little bit more deeper, kicking a goal. But I think hopefully in the next couple of weeks we'll see a bit more dynamics going through that midfield,
and does that
including myself, Isaac maybe a bit more, but we know that myself and Isaac, we like to be inside 50 as well, but I'm definitely putting my hand up this week to hopefully roll through a few more centre bounces and play that midfield a little bit too.
How do you block out all the doom and gloom, all us mad fans sitting there looking at the season ahead and going, "Oh, we're not going to win that one. We're going to win that one." How's Nixie in particular keeping the mood buoyant and optimistic internally, right?
Yeah, we had a philosophy going in from round 1 as well. It's just we were focusing on the first week because you have the end goal of playing finals, which obviously going 0-4 now, it seems out of reach, but there's still 19 games left. So we do think more process-based now instead of thinking, next week we play Essendon Friday night, we have to win that one at home. So it's going to be a big focus now going into this week and executing all of our roles in our game plan, because we know as well we haven't been good on the road before from the last probably 3 or 4 years. So it's going to be a big challenge this weekend.
Yeah.
Does the coach put the acid on the group, and is there an expectation that 0-4 there's going to be changes? Does that get addressed internally?
Yeah, definitely. When there's guys not playing their roles and we're not winning as well, it's hard because when things are going well and you're winning, the team normally stays together a lot more. So it's a fact that when the team's not doing too well, there's going to be changes no matter what. We were unfortunate to have Paddy Parnell go down with a shoulder injury, so I'm sure one of the backs will come in and replace him. But yeah, it's hard. Guys need to be consistent, because you can lose your spot quite quickly.
Be music to Crows fans' ears, I think, to see you in the middle a little bit more, Josh.
We're getting texts about
We're getting some texts about it. Exactly.
He texted in specifically requesting we ask that question about you spending more time in the midfield.
I suspect there's a few Crows fans out there that think the same thing.
What's the plan for the rest of the day, mate? I suppose, talking to us two is probably one of the most exciting parts of it, but I must have other things planned as well.
Yeah, it was a great start today talking to you guys. Couldn't think of anything better. I'll go for a nice brekkie after this. I always see my physiotherapist on my day off, but then I've got a nice dinner booked with my girlfriend, my brother, and my two roommates, Jake and Luke.
Excellent.
For dinner.
Well, make sure none of them lose their phone.
Yeah, try not to.
Don't want to turn up at 20 to 10 for an 8 o'clock booking.
Yep, don't want to be doing that again.
all the best being on time and for Saturday against the Blues.
Thanks, Dave. We'll have a good one.
You too, Josh.
Why pick one city, one beach, one restaurant, or one view? With Celebrity Cruises, you can have it all. Explore the best of Australia, New Zealand, Europe, and Asia on ships that are destinations themselves. And now get 75% off your second guest, plus bonus savings on select dates. See celebrity.com/au, call 1800 003 002, or contact your travel advisor.
Here at 5AA, we're all about supporting local. To keep essential pathology affordable and accessible for all Australians, visit keeppathologyBulkbuild.com.au. 5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
This is 5AA News, always Adelaide.
22 and partly cloudy today with the 8:30 news. I'm Graham Gooding.
Every body is unique. Let the Physio Extra team take care of your specific needs. PhysioExtra.com.
Our trains will be hit by industrial action later this morning. Drivers will stop work from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. as part of a dispute over pay and conditions after negotiations with private operator Keolis Downer stalled. Opposition Transport spokesman Vincent Tarzia says it's time the government intervened.
We think it's now reached a point where it's really unfair that everyday South Australians should be impacted by this strike action. It's going to affect people going to work, going to school, going about their daily business, medical visits. We think it's unfair on everyday South Australians, and that's why we're calling on the Transport Minister and the Premier to now step in and end this dispute.
Police say they've had a number of helpful calls on Crime Stoppers as they investigate a murder at Welland early yesterday. 21-year-old William Holdback had gone to the area to meet up with someone when an altercation occurred. Senior Constable Kate Dawson says he tried to run away but was fatally stabbed in Bowpal Street.
This suspect then jumped into the passenger side of a dark-coloured four-door sedan and left the area. We've got a picture of this car and some moving vision on our website and on Facebook if you want to jump on there and have a look.
The state government is giving victims of crime a stronger voice in South Australia's criminal justice system. Attorney General Kaya Ma says victims should have the right to tell the courts in their own words exactly how an offender's criminal actions have affected the victims' lives.
We're going to make sure victims know their rights, their ability to make a victim impact statement, and the legislative right to have proceedings adjourned where they haven't had a proper opportunity. But more importantly, we're going to make sure that the victim's words of what the court hears are to make sure that their statements aren't edited and they can tell the court in exactly their own words the effect that a crime's had on them.
The opposition is slamming a proposed federal act designed to boost local high-tech manufacturing projects. Under the legislation, taxpayer-funded incentives would be funneled towards advanced manufacturing and clean energy projects. Shadow Treasurer Angus Taylor admits he hasn't seen the details, but says it's the wrong decision for the economy.
The last time we had a lot of inflation in this country, I remember it, was the 70s and 80s, and we didn't solve it with big government. We solved it by getting government out of the way, by getting rid of the red tape, by letting small businesses get on with the job of doing the things that they do. And right now they're being crushed.
The US President is considering Australia's request to drop the prosecution of WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. America is seeking to extradite Assange from the UK over the leaking of military records, charges he's always denied. Joe Biden says he's looking into the federal government's request. There are calls to reassess the way Australia approaches gender-affirming medical treatments. A report out of the United Kingdom shows puberty blockers have long-lasting effects on children. The National Association of Practicing Psychiatrists wants an independent investigation, but child psychologist Dr. Gillian Spence says that's no longer needed.
The UK review team has done all the work for us. The CAS review completed several independent systematic reviews of the global research evidence to underpin its recommendations. So there's no need for Australia to waste 3.5 years and millions of dollars covering the same ground. The government should start implementing the recommendations from today.
And now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, style and safety to your home. Gliderol.com.au.
And good morning, Tom Wren.
Very good morning to you as well, Graham. Adelaide forward Josh Rochelle is confident the side is trending in the right direction despite the fact they're still winless after 4 rounds. Rochelle telling David and Will the performance against Melbourne was an improvement.
Yeah, it was definitely a step in the right direction from the previous 3 games. It felt like our game plan were back. Our structure ahead of the ball was definitely a lot better from previous weeks.
The sides for the Crows and Carlton will come out tonight, as will the teams for Port and Fremantle. And the round gets underway tonight with Melbourne hosting Brisbane at the MCG. Well, Tiger Woods is dreaming of winning a 6th title at the Masters and a 16th career major. He'll tee off tomorrow morning, our time, alongside Australian Jason Day and fan favourite Max Homa. Woods says whilst his body isn't what it once was, his mind is still as determined as ever.
The love I have for the game and the love for competition be intertwined. I think that's one of the reasons why I've had a successful career. I just love doing the work.
And in European Champions League action, Barcelona's had a 3-2 win against Paris Saint-Germain this morning, while Atletico Madrid got up 2-1. That was against Borussia Dortmund. And that's the 5AA Sport.
And now checking 5AA traffic.
Lynn Andrews Real Estate, experts in commercial and residential property management. lynnandrews.com.au.
At Ross Trevor, smash on St Bernard's Road near Montague Road. At Wingfield, a breakdown on the north-south motorway near Rosberg Road. At Clovelly Park, road plates in New South reverse water main repair on South Road at Dawes Road, speeds at 40. And Dry Creek, urgent works with road plates in use on Churchill Road near Cormac Road, speeds at 40. Find a camera this morning, Grange Road at Grange. OTR's range of barista-made coffee is available 24/7, so you can enjoy your coffee your way any time of the day or night. OTR, making life easy. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
And now the 5AA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your Automasters technician.
Partly cloudy and 22 today, tomorrow partly cloudy 21, Saturday partly cloudy 22, likewise Sunday partly cloudy 22. Right now in Adelaide it's 16. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Easy, settle down. Who are you?
Jack the Crack. Whoa, nice straight walls you've got there.
What are you doing?
Messing up your house, compromising its integrity.
Why?
See that little crack there in the corner? That's all I needed.
But
step aside, please.
Don't let cracks ruin your home. Adelaide Screw Piling will underpin your foundation, saving you thousands. Fully licensed, servicing all suburbs. Go to adelaidescrewpiling.com.au.
The Adelaide Hills are most certainly alive. So many families are now making the tree change. These people enjoy the space, they seek change, and they've chosen to discover what is on the road less travelled.
And if you're heading up to the hills on the freeway, take the Bridgewater exit and soon you'll be discovering the home of Nissan in the hills. Adelaide Hills Nissan has the full Nissan range, from the Qashqai to the Navara and everything in between.
Great cars. The pick of the crop is outside the showroom on Mount Barker Road, but they have all makes, models and colours ready for immediate delivery.
So take the road less travelled to Nissan's home in the hills, Adelaide Hills Nissan, since 1954, Mount Barker Road, Bridgewater.
Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base, search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
And they could never tear
On last Friday night, it's one of the best never tear us aparts they'd seen in a long, long time. But he's not in Adelaide today, Koshy. He joins us from rural Victoria, the chairman of the Port Adelaide Football Club, Compare the Market Economic Director. What are you doing in Victoria, Koshy?
I'm doing a bit of a speaking tour around the Grampians because the towns around here are at risk of bushfires and floods and the like, and talking about how to build financial resilience and sort of prepare the impact on your business. So So last night I spoke at the Coleraine Football Club. Tonight it's the Balmoral Football Club I'm speaking at during training, and I'm announcing the teams at the end of my presentation. So
Fantastic.
Their teams.
It's great.
Selection.
Fantastic.
How cool. That'll be good for you. Great part of the
Hopefully
world.
it's at a hospital pass, Koshi, and there's some controversial selection calls that have been made.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, no, that's not. Will, I hadn't thought of that. That does put me at a higher risk, doesn't it? I could end up buying a few beers at the bar.
Yeah, you might. You might be getting stitched up, Koshi. Just be wary.
Yeah.
Hey, Koshi, obviously you guys have been in the news for all the wrong reasons this week. Can I just ask, your comments on Sunday, you ended up being, well, pilloried by some LGBTIQ activists and others, some in the media, over what you said as if it was some preemptive strike to frame the debate. Do you still feel that there's an inconsistency between what happened to Clarko and what happened to Finlayson?
And I think in the statement that we put out yesterday, and I preceded every discussion on this with saying that Jeremy was absolutely wrong. What he said was abhorrent and has got to be stamped out of the game. And there's absolutely no doubt about that. And we understand and I understand the hurt it brings people. Jeremy understands that. He's been the subject of racial vilification. Yeah. So, Indigenous kids are really aware of this personally. But and we said it in the statement yesterday, we accept the conclusion of the AFL and the suspension, and Jeremy does as well, and we hope going forward there is consistency in it.
I've got to say, reading that statement yesterday, I thought the word consistency was a diplomatic but firm way for the Port Adelaide Football Club to make a very valid point about how these things are managed.
There's got to be a benchmark, and the AFL should be really clear about that, because the last thing you want is a discussion on severity. It is just wrong, full stop. I know every case is different, but it's to use that language is wrong, full stop, and there should be a penalty, and that penalty should be consistent, no matter who says it. And that was the point that we were trying to make.
Yeah, fair enough.
Koshi, all this morning we've been talking about in anticipation of the Prime Minister's comments at the Press Club in Queensland regarding a big economic statement he's going to make about Australia's manufacturing future. And we were trying to sort of decipher what precisely this is going to mean, not in an abstract way, but actually in a practical way. Lots of bits of the speech have appeared in News Limited Press this morning. He spoke a bit about it on your old show, Sunrise, a short time ago, which we'll play that for people who haven't heard it. Interested in your thoughts on this, though.
Australia can compete, that's the good news. And there is a global race for jobs and opportunity, and Australia wants to be in it to win it. That is what a future made in Australia is about. We can compete with the rest of the world, and we can beat the rest of the world with the natural resources that we have under the ground and in the sky. We can be the world's biggest producer of green hydrogen, powering a new generation of advanced manufacturing, having green metals, producing batteries here, making sure that we have a resilient economy. That's what it's about. This isn't about the old protectionism, it's about the new competition, which is there right around the world, and Australia needs to compete and to be in this, otherwise the world will just go past us.
It's a statement, I think, broadly that most listeners would agree with, Koshi, the idea that we should pursue a bit more of a self-reliant manufacturing future, but is it fanciful?
No, not at all. Not at all. It just can't be subsidised. It's got to be globally competitive. The dim dark hole days of the 60s and 70s and 80s, which got us into trouble where governments put on massive tariffs to protect Australian industry, that Paul Keating tore down, made us globally competitive and set us up for what we are today as an economy. One of the few countries in the world that has a AAA credit rating. We do things pretty well. There are still over 900,000 people working in manufacturing here in Australia. It is a lower percentage of the economy than previously because our mining has grown so much. So it's not that it's shrunk, it's just the rest of the economy has grown around it, particularly mining. But we've got to choose what we manufacture carefully and play to our strengths. Like China is the world's factory because it has lower labour costs, lower wages. So they're good at mass producing, I don't know, white singlets, okay, in millions and millions of units. And we've got to target high-tech industries that we're good at. And remember, a factory today isn't like a factory you see in the movies years ago. Factories today often are dark because they're run by robots. So the labour cost is taken out of them. So we can compete on our strengths, but we've got to pick the industries really carefully, and we've got to support them. I MC each year the Australian Exporter of the Year Awards, and South Australia's got some great homegrown exporters in this tech manufacturing area. One of them produces a platform where for stadiums around the world, they run the platform for the Super Bowl.
I've heard of that company. They're amazing.
Yeah, Adelaide Oval knocked them back to use it at Adelaide Oval. So they're the little things we can do. Governments, and Adelaide Oval is a public asset. Governments support innovation in manufacturing and technology that comes here, developed here in Australia, and give them a leg up and hopefully give them scale to take on the world. So, I totally agree with the Prime Minister, but we've got to do it in a smart way. Just can't make a motherhood statement saying we're going to rebuild manufacturing. Great, but make sure we do it well.
It's a great way of conceptualising what is a really, really macro issue. Koshy, all the best with selection tonight, mate. Hopefully, hopefully the captain's not being dropped, or the beloved centre-half forward, or anything like that, and you get pies thrown at you. But I'm sure it'll be fine.
All right. Thanks, guys. Till next week.
Koshy there from rural Victoria, the Compare the Market Economic Director, and, of course, Port Adelaide Football Club Chairman.
Can you believe this? I was getting texts from mates about this yesterday. The extent to which local government has the capacity to be the tail wagging the dog in this town, the tier of government that overwhelmingly people don't even vote for any of them, thus illustrating the disregard and disinterest which people have in councils. But is this Crow's headquarters ever going to get built?
No.
I don't think so. Charles Sturt Council, now, for whatever bizarre reason, because apparently they've been reassured by the club that there's going to be a certain amount of green space there, and it's actually higher than what the council itself had requested. But now there's some issue where they've decided they want even more green space, even though Commercial in General, as the owners of the land, apparently they can just build on it anyway.
This is the old headquarters.
Yeah, the old headquarters.
Where the preserved oval is beautiful.
Yeah.
The preserved footy park there behind the Crows' current headquarters, it's going to become, well, theoretically, the Sandford headquarters. That's magnificent, that space there.
But now Charles Sturt Council has said, no, we are not going to agree to the SANFL's proposed return to footy park, which means that there's no space for the Sandford to find their new base.
Which means they can't vacate Theberton.
Yeah.
Which means the Crows can't move in there.
Do we, as a state, do we just sit back and let the sort of L-plate tier of government ride roughshod over
part-timers and amateurs
stuff for the biggest organisation in South Australia is the Adelaide Football Club.
I've said
by
before,
the length of the straight, and the perfectly sane and financially achievable aquatic centre plan knocked on the head by the City Council. Now they've been doing ring-a-ring-a-rosy with West Torrens. Now Charles Sturt's getting involved. Like, At what point does the government just say, actually, this is beyond a joke, and we need to just
Take
start
some leadership
doing these things?
Well,
as a community.
now, this is farcical.
It is just
this is an advertisement for getting rid of the whole tier of government, which frankly I'm a fan of. If we grew up,
don't get me started.
If we lived in America right now, we're talking about the next year becoming the Newcastle Crows, because they just wouldn't bother. You'd go to a place that actually wants the team. Local government doesn't want the Adelaide Football Club, bizarrely. Doesn't want people participating.
Well, it's because most of them are too busy at home wearing ponchos and making their own yogurt.
Exactly.
Seriously.
Exactly.
Like, a lot of the people that get attracted to the local government are just completely unrepresentative of mainstream opinion, which is why the mainstream doesn't even vote in council elections.
They've got no mandate.
They're too busy off at the local, community garden as part of their climate action group or something. They're not going to the footy.
I read a story.
They would regard footy as a pursuit of morons who are disengaged from the bigger issues facing the planet right now.
I read a story on the BBC this morning at the moment, and I thought about it in the context of this, where currently in the UK they're about to start building a tunnel under Stonehenge. They're going to build a tunnel under Stonehenge because the road there is not fit for purpose any longer. I've been stuck on that road actually for hours. And the people that are up in arms about it are UNESCO. They're sort of outside of the UK, saying this is a heritage site. Could you imagine us wanting to build a tunnel under Stonehenge in this country?
Stonehenge.
We can't get a footy club an oval. We can't get the biggest footy club in town an oval in Australia.
Yeah. Yes.
What a joke.
That's
what an embarrassment.
It's a very good point.
Do away with them. They're a waste of time.
Have we got time to dig out
Go
the
collect
music
a bin.
to Stonehenge from Spinal Tap?
That'd be good. All right, let's
get it out.
Oh no, we've got a call. Shane in Brooklyn Park's on the line. Morning to you, Shane.
Yeah, g'day, David and Will. Listen, just going on from that, the Adelaide Oval, as you remember, we couldn't get the hotel up and running because of the Adelaide Council, but then suddenly the government stepped in and said, well, this is now a major project. We're calling this a major project. Step out of the way. I don't understand why Peter Malinowskis, and I know he's bought Adelaide, but why can't he just step in with this Steventon debacle and say this is now a major project at $120 million, which it is, let's face it, and call it a major project and just screw everyone out, get those L-platers out of the way.
Yeah, good point, Shane. Look, I'm not having a crack at the state government though over this, because despite their deeply held Port allegiances, both Peter Malinowskis and Tom Koutsantonis, as the local member, have been genuine supporters of the Adelaide Football Club on this issue. The problem is, it's just when the councils get involved, it was like, we're not sure about this. We need a meeting with the planning minister. It's like, watching paint dry, this process.
David in the Adelaide Hills, good morning.
Hey, here in Mount Barker, we know how to gather them round. Crows, come on up the hill. We'll find space.
Yeah, call them the Mount Barker Crows.
Yeah, we can make space. Up you come.
Yeah,
I like it.
Might as well.
I'm
sure there are councils and places in the state or in the country that would love to have a team. Just none of them seem to be in metropolitan Adelaide.
No. Ridiculous.
All right, let's check traffic thanks to Louver House, the leaders in turning your outdoor space into a great entertainment area with an opening and closing roof.
Thanks, Will. Ross Trevor, smash on St Bernard's Road near Montague Road. At Wingfield, a breakdown on the north-south motorway near Rosberg Road. At Clovelly Park, road plates in New South reverse waterway and repair on South Road at Dawes Road, speeds at 40, and we're slow at the moment Brighton Road at Brighton. Cameras South Parra Road at Williamstown and Trimmer Parade at Seaton. Harris Scarf's 4-day friend sale is on now. Save 60% off full price homewares by Fury and Swiss Diamond. Conditions apply. Harris Scarf, great brands, great prices. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
On 5AA mornings today, crime in the city with the declared public precinct to take in the Adelaide University and Torrens parade ground. But are there enough police on the beat? And a new push to ban duck shooting. Activists say they've filmed numerous breaches of animal welfare regulations at the start of this year's duck shooting season. Those topics, a lot more. Your calls. I'm Matthew Pantelis. Look forward to your company from 9.
Being an ex can be a good thing. The X in ex-service people stands for extraordinary assets, reliable employees who make exceptional leaders and are extremely skilled. Exemplary workers with dedication and an excellent work ethic. Exactly what your organisation needs. Explore more at veteransemployment.gov.au. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
Having access to reliable healthcare services gives us all peace of mind. Too many South Australians living hundreds of kilometres from Adelaide have a local hospital that doesn't have enough nurses or midwives. Frightening? Without state government action, we won't have the nurses and midwives needed to keep our regional hospitals running. Support those who care for us at regionalincentives.com.au. Authorised by EDBARS ANMF SA Branch Ridleyton.
If you're thinking of building or you're renovating your kitchen, you've got a lot of choices to make, but the first choice should be Smeg. We have an amazing Smeg showroom right here in Adelaide. It's Debney Distributors in Dudley Park, and inside you'll find the full Smeg range on display.
And what a range it is. Ovens, cooktops, dishwashers, fridges, wine cellars, kettles, toasters and more. Smeg seamlessly pairs performance with architectural design. Now, they even have these amazing cooking demonstrations. I was lucky enough to attend one with Donzi only a few weeks ago to check out my new Smeg oven. You can really taste the difference with Smeg. Proudly made in Italy since 1948, and their colour, design and technology is world famous. Smeg, it's technology with style. Visit the Smeg showroom at Debney Distributors, Harrison Road, Dudley Park.
Hey, you in the car? If your next service is due, just remember that Mawson Lakes Mazda has your back. We'll take care of you with next day servicing, complimentary loan car, vacuum and wash, and your breakfast or lunch is on us. Your car gets the love too, with our state-of-the-art service centre brimming with top-trained mechanics. At Mawson Lakes Mazda, we'll look after your car and look after you. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city.
Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on. Touch base. Search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
Time to check the fuel situation on this Thursday morning. A refuel for less and stay ahead of the cycle with the RA app's new Fuel Trends feature. You're going to want it at the moment because fuel's expensive. The cheapest we've been able to find, the Mobile Lower North East Road Paradise is at $1.84.9. The Ampol on O'Connell Street, North Adelaide's at $1.87.5. There is not an outlet that we can see south of the city below $2 a litre right now. Diesel has stayed around the $1.84 mark, which I think a week ago felt expensive and right now suddenly feels like the cheap alternative as it was originally intended. The United Main North Road Paraka has it at about $1.84.3.
Like this text, I work for a council. You should see what it's like watching all this happening from the inside, looking out, let alone also being a ratepayer and understanding how they come to some conclusions. Thank you for that, mate. Name withheld. Now, Will, you mentioned Stonehenge before.
Oh, yeah.
Stonehenge, where a man's a man and the children dance to the pipes of Pan. And you, my love, won't you take my hand? We'll go back in time.
You know what?
It's the funniest movie ever made, isn't it?
Speaking
it's in the top
of
5.
Music obscurities, I forgot to read out the review from DB Magazine that's sent to us by Dave Lloyd from 1992, where Cerveza, your old band, was being reviewed, playing at the Old Lion.
Supporting the Buzzcocks.
I'll try and just read it to some excerpts because it is a long review, but I did like the way in which it starts because this is how I picture every one of your gigs going. The review starts, I strolled into the big gig to find a wave of alcoholics assaulting the bar. Hundreds of punters loitering with intent in every corner. Adelaide's multicultural nightmare. Cerveza had somehow wrangled their way onto the Buzzcocks bill and were even now leaping about in horrible shorts and being uncool. Singer David Penberthy romped around, singing in a voice better than I'd been led to believe, and regaling the crowd with Spanish gibberish. I'm sure it was actually Spanish. He did this so consistently that I suspect some witnesses truly believe they were from Spain, somehow plucked from continental obscurity to play with the Buzzcocks on the other side of the world. Their songs were a mix of Dinosaur Jr. and other American-Australian trendy guitar pop, along with a few originals, done in an astonishingly competent way for a joke band. This whole review is damning with faint praise.
We didn't know we were a joke band.
They were helped with a great mix, clear, strong and loud. Not only did they sound okay, but some people milled about at the front. Applause came after every song, and only a few stray F-offs were audible. All this for a support band.
I'd forgotten that thing existed. It
Anyway.
popped up on Facebook on the Adelaide. I went off in the Adelaide band scene in the 80s.
You can
Facebook site.
You can read it in review. The way in which you guys pranced around the stage, it said the reviewer just left him hours later laughing about it. So congratulations to you.
I think they're touring again, the Buzzcocks.
Is that right?
Yeah, maybe you should give them a ring.
You should
see if they need a support band.
Well, it went off like a dream.
Frog in a sock.
It went off like a dream at the Old Line. Was it the Old Line? Yeah, the Old Line.
The Old Line.
That is all from us. Stick around for Matt Pantelis. We'll catch you tomorrow morning from 6 for Meat Tray Friday.
In tough times, it's the simple things that make a big difference.